I remember when I was a kid and I used to think, I love UFOs, and maybe when I'm older, I can make videos about the stories other people make up about UFOs, and then, make money. What a career. Wow. Are we still on camera? No. Good. Aren't they suckers? They give me so much money for putting this shit out.
Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Demonize, 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 demonize. They're the ones who've been lying to us. Rear its ugly head, demonize. They're the ones who've been lying to us. Rear its ugly head, demonize, 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 demonize. Are their bodies demonized? Yes, yes. Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Yes, yes. Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. There are UFO study programs. Demonized. Illegal programs. Yes. Demonized. Yes, yes, yes. Demonized. There are UFO study programs. Demonized. Illegal programs. Yes. Demonized. Yes, yes, yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. We have no evidence. Demonized. Yes, 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 yes. Demonized. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist on this planet. Craft that do not exist.
Yes, 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 yes.
Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. Are their bodies demonized? Demonized. 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 Demonized.
There are UFO study programs.
Demonized.
Illegal programs. Yes.
Demonized.
Yes, yes, yes.
Demonized.
There are UFO study programs.
Demonized.
Illegal programs. Yes.
Demonized.
Yes, yes, yes.
Demonized.
Yes, 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 yes.
You're a bunch of cowards, and your names are going to go down in history. Watch it. You're a bunch of cowards, and your names are going to go down in history. Watch it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You're a bunch of cowards, and your names are going to go down in history. Watch it. You're a bunch of cowards, and your names are going to go down in history. Watch it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Can you feel that? Can you feel that?
Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. Losing control, yeah, I'm all over the place. Oh, clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Well, you started out with nothing, and you're proud that you're a self-made man. And your friends, they all come crawling, slap you on the back and say, please, please, oh please. Trying to make some sense of it all, but
Greetings and salutations, and welcome, old friends, and hopefully some new friends. Tonight, we are going to be discussing some of the battles raging, and I am just at a loss to even really comprehend the full extent of all that is happening. But I will be going through some of the material I have been collecting with all of you this evening. Thank you all for being here. So, UFOs and aliens, the fascination with UFOs and the possibility of alien life has persisted throughout human history, permeating various cultures and societies worldwide. And as with any controversial subject, individuals have taken contrasting positions. Some remain, or like me, eventually become skeptical, dismissing some UFO sightings and stories of alien encounters as mere stories or profit-driven hoaxes or misidentifications, while others passionately believe in the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence and argue that this sometimes, some would say, very piss-poor evidence is evidence that this is all true. Tonight, hopefully, if there's time, we're going to be exploring some of the historical evolution of skepticism versus the belief debate surrounding UFOs and aliens, especially with the recent hearings. And I really do believe that things have reached a sort of fever pitch. And I, for one, am happy for this because it seems that the Griff Squad has really backed themselves into a corner with this one. And there has been some very prominent rivalries here, some very passionate, some would say toxic debates and arguments that have shaped the discourse lately. I just want to mention that piece that we played right before I came on to the broadcast was from the King Milk Fart Harassment Archive. And that's how you could know that things have gotten out of hand when one individual can harass so many other individuals that there is a literal archive created of all of the, toxic, disgusting harassment, threats, intimidation that has gone on. I, for one, have been a victim of this person. Who, and what was my sin? Asking questions, right? Now, the modern UFO phenomenon in more recent times, or let's just say since, it's gained prominence in the 20th century, but its roots can really be traced back to ancient civilizations. After all, there are ancient texts and artwork that have been interpreted by true believers as evidence of extraterrestrial contact on Earth, while those among us that are more skeptical maintain that those interpretations are products of myths, symbolism, or artistic expression. For instance, one example is the Sanskrit text Mahabharata, which includes references to flying vehicles known as vimanas, which believers often attribute to ancient UFO sightings, while those more skeptical among us contend that these descriptions are metaphorical and represent technology of gods or advanced human technology. UFO beliefs have had I would say, a profound cultural significance, but maybe I'm too close to the subject matter. I do believe that stories of UFOs and aliens have shaped the collective psyche of societies and influenced popular culture. Of course, the most notable example that I could think of is the Roswell incident in 1947, where a UFO crash in Roswell, New Mexico, sparked intense debates, with believers arguing that the United States government covered up an extraterrestrial encounter, while skeptics maintain that it was merely a weather balloon or some other ordinary earthly object. The Roswell case has become an enduring cultural symbol, inspiring countless books, movies, and conspiracy theories. It is truly an enduring mystery. But since 1947, the smoking gun evidence or proof that it was indeed an alien or extraterrestrial encounter on Earth has been elusive. The evidence that it was aliens is just not there. Government involvement and secrecy in UFO investigations have further fueled the skepticism versus belief debate. For example, the United States Project Blue Book, which was initiated in 1952, aimed to investigate UFO reports. While skeptics argue that the project provided rational explanations for most of the UFO sightings, believers still claim, and I think in that case with some evidence, that it was a smokescreen to conceal genuine mysteries or extraterrestrial evidence. The controversial shutdown of Project Blue Book in 1969 only added to the contention between skeptics and believers and fueled further arguments and toxic debates, some would say. The 1970s and 80s saw a surge in UFO sightings and alien abduction claims, with notable cases like the Travis Walton abduction and the Benny and Barney Hill incident. These events intensified the clash between skeptics who dismissed these stories as fabricated or hallucinatory, and believers who saw them as credible proof and evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. Psychologists attributed abduction experiences to various things, including mental illness, hallucinations, dreams, sleep paralysis, and suggestibility, while UFO enthusiasts argue that these explanations ignore key aspects of the cases. The scientific community has played a significant role in the skeptics versus believer debate. For example, SETI, which began in the 1960s and 70s, aims to detect radio signals from advanced civilizations. Pardon me. Skeptics within the scientific community often dismiss the feasibility of extraterrestrial contact due to the vast distances and limitations of space travel. In contrast, believers argue that the vastness of the universe makes it highly probable for intelligent life to exist elsewhere. So we can see that sometimes both sides of the argument can have valid and good arguments. The advent of the internet has democratized access to this information and created a flood of this information, allowing UFO beliefs to proliferate rapidly throughout society. Social media platforms and online forums have become battlegrounds for skeptics and believers to present their arguments and evidence. UFO sightings are now routinely captured on smartphone and shared online, leading to passionate debates about the authenticity of said evidence. So the UFO and alien phenomenon continues to captivate the human imagination, fueling heated debates between skeptics and believers, and this is nothing new. But lately, things have really gotten, I think, increasingly toxic. Even though throughout history, rivalries, debates, and arguments have served to shape our understanding of this enigmatic subject. Many good arguments from both skeptics and believers have contributed to the ongoing discourse surrounding UFOs and aliens. But as we move further into the future, it is likely that the debate will intensify, increase, and persist, highlighting the enduring allure of great mysteries of the unknown and the search for potential extraterrestrial life. Most recently, however, I believe that this war, if you will, between believers and skeptics has reached a toxic state, as evidenced by the amount of people who are being threatened, intimidated, harassed, doxxed, and more. It's just gotten to be completely and totally ridiculous. And I believe that the people making all of the money, the people that I routinely call UFO celebrities, are largely responsible for this, because they create this atmosphere. We have seen evidence that Lou Elizondo allegedly was directing people to go attack his critics. This man is heavily invested and has made, how much has he made? Someone needs to ask him. He won't answer. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions so far. Well, there was book deals, documentary deals, $3 million collected in the TTSA alleged techno scam, which was allegedly or apparently being investigated by the SEC as fraud, as a scam. This man allegedly directed his cult-like brainwashed followers to go and attack people that were being critical or asking questions. And he has yet to address this, to the best of my knowledge. I mean, I haven't checked. He's probably blocked me along with thousands of other people. Because some of these UFO profiteers love to live in an echo chamber where, you know, they can just erase all criticism, all skepticism, and all questions. And they do not want their believers even seeing people raise these important questions. So they just block everybody. And tonight we're going to see some fun evidence of what happens. You know, I don't have the benefit of working for a major newspaper or media outlet. We're a one-man shop here. We're independent. I'd like to consider myself an independent investigative journalist. But we're going to see some evidence tonight of what happens if you are a journalist for a major publication and you start asking these people questions. It's comical what happens. It's absolutely comical what happened when a New York Post reporter started asking these people questions. We're going to break it all down to you. But before we do, we want to take a moment to recognize the live chat and thank you all for being here. What a fantastic crowd we have here in what I call the Peanut Gallery. Some of you were sending me messages yesterday or over the weekend, I should say, about a certain toxic show host who literally got caught lying about me again. And I don't want to waste any time on this clown. We've wasted far too much time on a clown who works for the biggest UFO scamming grifters in the history of UFO scamming grifters, third phase of moon. And for those unaware, this specific individual has been caught lying about me over and over and over again. Now he's taken to put my name in a thumbnail. And during an entire 2-hour show, he only spoke about me for 2 minutes. That's clickbait garbage. He's so lazy and he can't gather any dirt on me. So he puts me in the thumbnail and then he only speaks about me for 2 minutes. And this will show you some of the believer versus skeptic arguments. Now, I do have to say that in my opinion, largely, I have not seen people on the skeptic side threaten, intimidate, harass people, lie about people, spread false rumors. I see that on the believer side. And but by the way, this clown is kind of a funny amalgam because he pretends to be a skeptic, but he works for the biggest hoaxer, fraudster, scammers in the history of UFO hoaxer, fraudster, scammers in the third phase of moon. And he gives them a pass while attacking everybody else. And that will show you what kind of a man he is. And besides that, in this clip we'll share, he's saying that I don't do enough research and that I steal my research from other people. Completely and totally false. Everybody knows me for doing great research. At times, I will use somebody else's material, always ask for permission. By the way, in this case, I have screenshots of the person who sent me this information encouraging me to use it. And I said I would do that. I'm not going to waste your time with the screenshots. It's enough to say the person who sent me the information encouraged me to use it. I said in the messages, okay, thank you. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. You've already done this work. I was going to do some of it. I won't reinvent the wheel. Thank you. I'll credit you. During the live broadcast, I credit this person. I stopped counting at 14 times that I mentioned his name and thanked him for the information that he sent me. I put his name in the description of the video and thanked him for that information. But here's Mr. Toxic going to tell everybody that I steal research. He's not smart enough to do this with me. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. It's like trying to play chess with a brain damaged monkey. It's no fun. You're going to win every game. And that's where I'm at with this clown. So, and by the way, we've started a new channel, Third Phase of Moon Exposed. And I'm not going to waste time on my primary channel on bottom-feeding grifters who have been caught lying to their audience. How many times now? How many times is he going to be caught lying to his audience? And all of this, by the way, let's try to frame this correctly. All of these attacks against me from this toxic clown have been because we exposed the grift of Third Phase of Moon in him. And this is what happens when you tell the truth in UFO land. You get threatened, intimidated, harassed. He's attacked my wife, my family, my children, right? Endless attacks, but no evidence, right? Always trying to damage my reputation. And by the way, idiot, the image you use in your thumbnail is copyrighted. Take it down. You don't have my permission. And yes, I will copyright claim your ass. Take my image off of your channel. You have no permission to use my image to slander me, you dummy. And this is where we're at. And I know about the unwritten rule. Oh, you can't attack somebody's channel. How many times has he attacked my channel with lies, slander? How many times has he been caught lying about me, my show, my family? How many more times are you going to do this to me, you toxic clown? And I love how he calls me white trash. He's a divorced, bankrupt loser who lives in a trailer that his mother owns. But I'm white trash. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So here, we've already made a video 50 times this guy provably lied to his audience. Now we're past 55, I think. We might be able to make a 60 times this guy lied to his audience. There's no excuse for this. Take the video down. It's slander.
I hope you guys understand. What's this? Steve Cambion's favorite, Solar Marshall, favorite thing to do is have you send him all the debunks you can on someone, then claim that material as his own. Yeah, that's what I learned about Scambian. He takes the credit for everything that was given to him instead of doing the research.
Important note, Dan Benkert is Solar Marshall. Gufon says Stephen Cambion does not do enough research. Gufon never even researched this claim before shooting his mouth off with a lie. The only time Stephen Cambion used a debunk from Solar Marshall, he credited him multiple times. Both verbally in the actual video many times, and also he is credited in the video description. Looks like Gufon lied with fake facts to slander Stephen Cambion again. How many times has he done this now?
And there's a treasure trove of debunking this bullshittery, courtesy of Dan Benkert. And listen, I mentioned I was going to do some of this work. Then I remembered from looking at the video comments that he had already done this. He had already done this, right? Okay. Oh boy, we get to start right at the beginning, courtesy of Dan Benkert. You know, when you're in the UFO community, you're going to deal with a lot of unstable, strange people. And to be honest, you know, this guy, Solar Marshall, is one of them. He just decided one day that he was a secret agent and nobody was allowed to say his name. Did you notice I said his name? That was on a show from 3 years ago. I've said his name 2 years ago, 1 year ago. It was all fine until a few months ago when I said his name, and suddenly he's a secret agent and I doxed him. Completely and totally false. His name's all over the internet. It's on Reddit forums. It's on Above Top Secret. It's on Avalon forums. His name is everywhere. He never told me, please don't use my name. I got a new job and I don't want to be considered a UFO wackadoo or something. Or I would have respected his wishes. But now, and by the way, I have private messages where he's calling Gufon a huge scammer and talking about how he sold his soul to Third Phase of Moon and he's a loser. And now he's over there sucking balls and trying to disparage me. And Gufon's such an idiot, he just repeats lies, right? I'm sure he's going to throw Solar Marshall under the bus for this one. Oh, I didn't lie. Solar Marshall lied. I didn't know. I didn't check. It's your responsibility, if you're going to put me on a thumbnail and slander me, to check. And to, oh, I don't do enough research. Did you research that claim? Every time he does this, he looks like the lying scumbag he is. And I'm sick of it. So gloves off, take my image down. That's my copyrighted image. You don't have permission to use it. And take down the video because it's slander. And let's be very clear, this person is very unstable and has accused not just me, he's previously accused alien scientists of stealing his research. I have those screenshots. You want to get all the dirt out? I'll just start posting the screenshots. He also accused Kevin Moore from the Kevin Moore Show of stealing, and I quote, $20,000 worth of his Bob Lazar research. What research about Bob Lazar is worth $20,000? That'll show you how ridiculous this is. The man's obviously paranoid. He's not thinking right. I forgive him, but you're gone. Because one thing I can't stand in my life is a two-faced backstabber. You're gone from, you have been erased from my existence. And by the way, I forgive him. I forgive him for everything. But you can no longer be anywhere near me again, because I will not allow the possibility of a two-faced backstabber stabbing me in the back like that again and completely and totally lying through his teeth, trying to damage my reputation. I have a great reputation for doing good research. We have 1,000 live shows here, and sure, occasionally I use material from other people. I always credit people, always make it clear if this is not my PDF file or whatever. And then we share it in the description of the video, and then we share it on Google Drive sometimes, promoting the people who share information with us. But I'm the bad guy, not Gufon, who lied to his audience for years about Third Phase hoax, not him who lied to his audience and he was in on private messages while they were faking videos. Yeah, I'm the bad guy here. But this is it. This is what you get in the toxic land of UFOs. And I, for one, am sick of it. And I'm not just going to let things go anymore. I'm going to start swinging back. And some of you people aren't going to like it. That's it. You've had your fun lying and lying and lying and lying. Now I'm just going to start copyright claiming people. I'm just going to start taking aggressive actions to stop people from lying about me on the internet like spoiled, jealous, bitter, angry children. It's not happening anymore. Now, I apologize for even wasting our important showtime on this nonsense. So we will get to the meat of tonight's presentation. That person, oh, by the way, buying more subscribers, go look on his Social Blade. He hasn't had a real organic subscriber in what, months now, right? But I'm the bad guy. I'm always the bad guy. You kind of get used to it. It's all good, right? Bitter, angry, jealous little men who can't compete without selling out to scammer channels are always going to have something to say about people who did it the hard way, right? It's just the way it is. So I kind of went on a tweet storm earlier because I thought that there was so much to share, and I don't even know where to begin, but we'll begin, I suppose, by going through some of this in reverse order. And before I do begin, since we'll be beginning with something that John Greenwald shared, well, many of us shared this. It's the statement from Sean Kirkpatrick. I just want to mention that UFOs on Reddit has become a huge cesspool, and the believer crowd are all melting down. And for 2 days straight now, they've all been attacking mercilessly John Greenwald Jr. from the Black Vault, because he's likes facts and evidence. Oh, geez, how dare you want facts and evidence, right? And been attacking Sean Kirkpatrick. And maybe if we have time tonight, we will get into that. But so the wars are really beginning, and it's raging, and I think that some of this has to do with Kirkpatrick because he wasn't going to take people lying about him in Congress under oath laying down. So I'm sure you may have seen this, but we're going to read it. We're going to read parts of it anyway. Try to read this quickly. 1 second here. Oh, I always hate it when this happens. Where is it at? You gotta love it. All right. Hearings and transparency. And this came from Sean Kirkpatrick. And by the way, there was this big hubbub about, you don't know for sure he wrote that. Like 4 or 5 people confirmed that he wrote it. And people were still arguing over that. So that'll just show you that these two sides are going to argue over everything. Let me begin by saying that the following are my personal observations. By the way, Susan Gall of the Pentagon came out and said she wasn't going to comment on this because these are his personal observations. Yesterday, the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs held an open hearing on UAP, during which a government cover-up of extraterrestrials was alleged. I wholeheartedly applaud congressional efforts to get to the truth about what UAP are and the risks to both pilot safety and national security. I'm also absolutely committed to transparency on both the historical mission and the operational mission. As the director of AARO's amazingly talented, devoted, and highly motivated team, however, I cannot let yesterday's hearing pass without sharing how insulting it was that the officers of the Department of Defense and Intelligence community who chose to join AARO, many with not unreasonable anxieties about the career risks this would entail, and that have been working diligently, tirelessly, and often in the face of harassment and animosity. Remember, and let's be clear on something. The whole time I've been involved in UFOs, people have been screaming that they want the government and scientists to take this topic seriously. And isn't it great that finally the government and scientists are taking this topic seriously? And last year, this guy was applauded as a new big hero. He's going to bring us UFO disclosure and the truth about UFOs. And as soon as he said there's no evidence of extraterrestrial life, everybody turned on him like a dime. And he was the bad guy leading the cover-up. And I, for one, am glad to see him standing up to these people. Because if he said, I'm committed to transparency. Great. So what he says, yet, contrary to assertions made in the hearing, the central source of those allegations have refused to speak with AARO. Dave Grush is refusing to speak with AARO. You know why that is? Because they know how piss poor his evidence is. That's why he won't speak to them. Furthermore, some information reportedly provided to Congress has not been provided to AARO, raising additional questions about the true commitment to transparency by some congressional elements. The subcommittee, whose questions and oversight duties are irreproachable and in genuine need of answers, has never asked AARO for an update on the reporting system, the historical review, the operations, the S&T strategy that AARO leads and is undertaking. So you got people claiming that AARO, headed by this Sean Kirkpatrick, is covering things up. They never asked him. They never asked him for an update. Isn't that great? A rational person watching the hearing might reasonably assume that both the witnesses and the members had an understanding of the department and the IC's progress since the establishment of AARO around this time last year, only naturally leading them to conclude that AARO has been ineffective, non-transparent, and delinquent in its legislated mission. AARO briefs the Defense and Intel committees regularly. And since the last NDAA, the Homeland Defense, S&T, and several other committees as well. I'm deeply disappointed with the denigration of AARO's dedicated men and women hailing from the Department of Defense, intelligence community, and civil partners who are pouring their hearts out, working this issue on behalf of the Congress. I get the sense that these people are genuinely doing a great job and really trying. And one of the things that nobody has discussed is these people are like literally spreading false rumors that this guy's not doing his job. He could lose his job and his livelihood because a bunch of UFO grifters decided that he's running a cover-up. And what evidence of that is there? There is none. There's no evidence this man is covering anything up. But it didn't stop the UFO grift squad from claiming it so that they could, get some more UFO dollars, I think. And by the way, I'm volunteering. I'm going to volunteer for AARO. I'm going to give them a grifter guide so that they'll know all the times these grifters have lied before, right? The guy could lose his job because a bunch of grifters who lied constantly said that he's being ineffective or not being transparent or covering things up. That's wrong, grifter squad. Have some evidence of that before you make those claims. But hell, people, including people who are willing to say, we have alien bodies and not show evidence. Of course they're going to say this guy's not doing his job and there's a cover-up without any evidence. Of course they're going to do that. They're claiming there's bodies without evidence. And of course the money shot. Finally, to be clear, AARO has yet to find any credible evidence to support the allegations of any reverse engineering program for non-human technology. Also, to be clear, none of the whistleblowers from yesterday's hearing ever worked for AARO. Yeah, Grush lied about that or misspoke. I'll give him that one. He either lied about it or he misspoke that he worked for AARO or was ever a representative to AARO, contrary to statements made in testimony and in the media. So that was kind of the opening. Well, really the opening shot was the hearing where they lied about him and he's setting the record straight. So there's the second shot in the UFO war fired. It's getting good, but it gets better. It gets so much better. Oh my God. This is like drama-rama. Now, many people, including myself, have said that David Grush won't name his sources publicly. And by the way, there's a lie going around that, well, the information that he has on the aliens and the UFO crash retrieval program is classified, so he can't share it unless he's in a skiff. No, the DOD cleared him to talk about alien bodies and crash retrieval programs. That means alien bodies and crash retrieval programs are not classified, and he can say anything he wants. He's already been cleared. So why is he, I can't talk about that in an open session. I can't talk about that in an open session. I can't name my sources that told me about the alien bodies that I never saw with my own eyes. I believe that his sources are all the usual UFO grifters, and I'm entitled to believe that until he proves otherwise. The burden of proof is on the person making the claims, not me. So we've already shown close associations with Dr. Eric Davis, who's a wackadoo, with Elizondo, who's a wackadoo who has remote superpowers, who claims he ran a UFO Pentagon program that only existed in the land of make-believe, right? And General Mattis once saved him during a war. None of this work. Not these people are wackadoos. What other wackadoos? Dr. Gary Nolan, another wackadoo. These are his sources. We've already proven close associations with these people. Oh, and Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, who have been selling a convicted pimp fake scientist as a government whistleblower for years before this guy to the tune of millions of dollars. What about that guy? And where's the Element 115? George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell and Lazar at various times have said that they've still got some. Couldn't they have thrown that on the congressional floor and said, there's the proof of aliens, bitches? But they didn't do that. You know why? Because it's all a grift. It's all a lie. They don't have shit. That's why they're putting some autistic guy who's gullible and easy to manipulate and making that guy destroy his career without even showing evidence. How dare they do that? In my opinion, if it turns out that they all manipulated this guy so that they could make UFO money, somebody better get criminally prosecuted for this. And why is my government wasting time on UFO wackadoos with no evidence? I have no problem with them having a congressional hearing if somebody's going to come in and be a real whistleblower and provide evidence. Whistleblowers break NDAs. They break security clearances. They blow the whistle. They show the evidence, like Snowden. This guy, well, somebody told me, and I can't talk about it in an open session. I need a skiff. No, the DOD already cleared him to talk about alien bodies and to talk about alien crash retrieval programs. The DOD clearing him to do that tells you that's not classified. They don't consider that classified, and he can say anything he wants about that. Why isn't he? Why? Is he waiting for the documentary deal he already has? I think so. He already had a documentary deal before he ever became a public figure. And we know that was at least as far back as May 15th. Dave Grush already had a UFO documentary deal. Now, we were talking about how Grush is heavily connected to all these UFO grifters. Now, John Greenwald, this might be why he's getting, mercilessly flamed on UFO Reddit. He found this link, which I find great. Based on David Grush's comments Wednesday on holographic principle, I searched the Black Vault to see what I had. First hit, a once secret document and experiment from the Stargate program on remote viewing, in which Dr. Hal Puthoff was the director. Oh, I'm going to steal that from Stephen Greenstreet. Oh. So perhaps David Grush's source on holographic principle came from Dr. Hal Puthoff, who was also involved with the TTSA techno scam and numerous other scams to defraud the American public out of taxpayer money to study paranormal things. How much money are we going to let Dr. Hal Puthoff waste? If he look, and why don't they get Grush under oath and ask him to name his sources? Oh, I can't. It's classified. No, it's not. No, it's not. And you're not a whistleblower. You're not a whistleblower if you don't name names, right? You don't name names. And yes, Sheila Aliens, I'll do that for you. We had to tighten the mix. Say something in the live chat so I know where you're at, and we'll do that. Yes. Sorry, or I'll do it after the show. So we've been saying this is the guy's sources, and it's looking increasingly more and more like we're correct. These are where he's getting these stories from. We know he got the 1933 UFO crash from Elizondo because he talked about that a lot. We know he got some of the things he said about materials from Dr. Gary Nolan because he repeated Gary Nolan's statements previously made word for word or just about word for word. And now it appears that he's getting things from Hal Puthoff. Gee, all three of those people were involved in the TTSA techno scam. What are the odds, right? And let's be clear, George Knapp was also involved in the TTSA techno scam. He was an early investor and forgot to tell everybody when he was doing all those media reports that encouraged people to invest in TTSA that he was an early investor. He should be fired from his job for that. That's a huge conflict of interest. And I don't think that you're allowed to do that as a journalist. Use your journalistic connections and your media connections to pump up the stock of something you've invested in and not disclose it, that's pretty problematic. But welcome to Griftville. Everybody's got an angle. Everybody's trying to grab some UFO dollars. You should get some too, right? And there's so much more for me to share. We're going to try to get through it all, friends. Thank you all for being here. 1 second here. I got to find the next. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is what happens. This is what happens, friends, when you ask the Grifter Squad questions. When you ask the Grifter Squad questions, you get blocked. Even if you're a reporter for a major newspaper and publication, my exclusive New York Post reporting has revealed that this is from Stephen Greenstreet, by the way. I don't want anybody running to another show host and saying I don't credit for the things I'm sharing. And by the way, we apologize, but we don't. Stephen Greenstreet replied to one of the tweets about tonight's show. We used a 15-year-old picture of him, but it's a great picture, and he's okay with it. So thanks for that, Stephen Greenstreet. I don't know where Spooky found it. By the way, thanks to Spooky for doing the thumbnail. I don't want somebody saying that I steal thumbnails too next, you losers. My exclusive New York Post reporting, says Stephen Greenstreet, has revealed that a small group of UFO activists have duped Congress and deceived 99% of the mainstream media. They can block, but they can't hide, and I won't stop digging. And look at this. This is a veritable who's who of who's been pushing the for-profit disinformation, fake information, UFO, CIA disclosure, PSYOP, fake disclosure narratives since 2017. It's a who's who of them. Why can't they answer questions if it's not a UFO grift? Why can't they answer questions about TTSA if it wasn't a scam? And where's the $3 million that investors gave to TTSA, to Christopher Mellon, to Hal Puthoff, to Lou Elizondo, to Tom DeLonge and others? Where's the $3 million? And where's the goddamn spaceship? Can I have a ride in the spaceship that you promised investors? And how is it legal to promise investors a spaceship, collect $3 million, and then refuse to answer questions about the spaceship you promised investors? But isn't this wonderful? Here are all the people that don't want to answer questions to a major newspaper reporter. Lou Elizondo, you're blocked. Christopher Mellon, you're blocked. Sean Cahill, who got caught faking UFO videos in Lou Elizondo's backyard and lying, saying there's no airports nearby. We found 4 airports nearby where he faked that UFO sighting in Lou Elizondo's backyard. Sean Cahill needs clown shoes. I think we ought to get his address and send him a whole clown suit. Sean Cahill, you're blocked. Brandon Fugel, you're blocked. Travis Taylor, you're blocked. Ross Coulthart, you're blocked. Alex and Dietrich, you're blocked too. Right? Ryan Graves, you're blocked. George Knapp, you're blocked. These are all profiteering UFO people, and they don't want to answer questions. Right? And I did see on Reddit that people said, oh, they only blocked you because you harassed them. Asking questions is not harassment. He's doing his job as a journalist. And I, for one, applaud him for the questions he's asked. And I hope he keeps asking more questions and more aggressively and more forcefully. These are the questions that Stephen Greenstreet are asking, the questions that I'm asking, the questions that Mick West asks, the question that John from the Black Vault asks. All those questions demand answers, and this is what we get. The only people who fear questions are people with something to hide. I gotta love it, though. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. That's just what happens when you ask some would say the wrong questions. I would say the right. And you know what? Here's another thing. I saw some super chats. I missed them. I apologize. I get in the heat of things here. Let me see if I can't find those. Um, I apologize immensely. We try to read every single super chat. If I have to, I'll read them at the end. I'm way far. Wow, the live chat is going crazy tonight. Lots of chatters here and lots of chat. Lots of chatter going on in the live chat. I am ferociously scrolling my mouse scroll wheel. There we go. There's one of them. We thank Keith Gardeck for kind and generous $20. You have to love Corbell's location during the hearings. I swear he is a glue-sniffing hybrid of Joe Rogan and Negan from The Walking Dead. Well, thank you for your kindness, your generosity, and support. Spooky says, I don't feel I've been thanked enough. Well, thank you for the thumbnail, Spooky. And just to be clear and offer the credit that where credit is due. And I'm terrible at layers, right? When you have to cut somebody out of an image and put them in another image, I'm terrible at that. I knew Spooky could do that thumbnail in 5 minutes, and Spooky did. I asked Spooky to help me on this one. So I thank Spooky. I'm sorry Spooky doesn't feel appreciated enough or credited enough. Go tell Gufon. Maybe he'll do another hit piece on me. He'll put me in the thumbnail and he'll ramble for an hour and 58 minutes. In the last 2 minutes of the 2-hour video, he'll lie. Again, loser. Local 556. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. As long as there's no standard of evidence with UFO enthusiasts, the hot potato that is the burden of proof of evidence will continually be passed around the grift circle, allowing lies to permeate. I love that. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use that as a talking point. And I won't credit you. And you could go complain to that show host, and he could do another hit piece on me. I'm going to read this one more time because it is very, very good point. As long as there's no standard of evidence with UFO enthusiasts, the hot potato that is the burden of proof of evidence will continually be passed around the grift circle, allowing lies to permeate. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And thank you for being a ferocious truth seeker, Local 556. Worth a follow on Twitter. This guy is another person asking great questions that demands answers. Why can't they answer questions, right? If you're so sure about all of this, information that you're pushing is entirely accurate, why can't you answer questions from journalists, right? And why can they only go on the circle jerker podcasts, right? Hey, Sean Cahill, come here. I have some questions about when you lied and said there was no airports near Lou Elizondo's house. And then we found, 4 of them within miles of his house? Ross Coulthard, why don't you come here and we'll ask you some questions, about how you lied and sold completely and totally fake stories several times before in order to make money and worked for a war criminal. Isn't it? Come on, come here and answer questions. No, they do the circle jerks because the circle jerk shows won't ask them real questions. They just sit there and let them push the grift. We don't do that here. And God willing, we never will. All right. Now, I lost my place. This is great. And this is, here's another thing. You only get half the story. You only get half the story from the Grift Squad. You need to follow people like Stephen Greenstreet to get the other half of the story. May 26th, I called Dave Grush to ask some questions. Grush answered. I introduced myself. Grush hung up on me. Why can't Grush answer questions from a New York Post person? June 5th, David Grush's story was rushed into publication due to Grush getting, quote, threatening phone calls, unquote, and the worry that someone else might publish something first. Leslie Keene on why she rushed out David Grush's story in the debrief. He was starting to get threatening phone calls. And he became, we were worried about his safety. So New York Post reporters calling you, wanting you to answer some questions is now threatening phone calls. I think he should have to clarify, prove there was threatening phone calls. And if you're getting threatening phone calls, you made some police reports, right, David Grush? Maybe somebody ought to check into that, right? July 17th, I emailed former Pentagon Skinwalker Ranch investigator and asked to speak to him about his work on ATIP and his thoughts on current UAP legislation. He did not respond. I since learned I'm the only one that reached out to him. My email to him is here. Now, this guy comes out and says that he's going to get doxxed, and there's tweets that he helped former Pentagon UAP Task Force Director Jay Stratton chase ghosts at Skinwalker Ranch, and that he's coming out to get ahead of a major league dox being orchestrated against him. You see how these people twist the facts? It's a New York Post reporter calling you or emailing you and asking you questions. No one's threatening to dox you. No one's threatening you on the phone. But this is what these people turn it into. It's just ridiculous. He'd like to come forward on his own. I will respect that. I look forward to hearing his story. The UFO wars, friends, it's getting intense here. And, one thing I want to point out is that you're not going to really catch the skeptical side straight lying. But here on the true believer side, we catch them lying constantly. And I don't understand how anybody can argue that the skeptics are the bad guys, but they do. And let's be clear. To the best of my knowledge, Stephen Greenstreet saw a UFO himself, and that's why he's here. He wanted answers about his personal experience. I saw something, a UFO, myself when I was a child. That's why I'm here. We wanted answers. Obviously, John from the Black Vault has an intense interest. He's devoted a whole chunk of his life since he was 14 years old into getting government documents about conspiracies and UFOs wrenched from the government. He obviously cares. That's why he's here. But we want evidence of claims. Is really that why you're going to attack us and harass us and threaten us and intimidate us and claim that we're harassing people by asking questions? Questions are not harassment. It's a journalist's job to ask questions. But you people have been conditioned by fake UFO journalists who do the circle jerk and don't ask the hard questions. So you think when somebody comes in and asks some hard questions, that's harassment. They're threatening me, right? We've seen that with Linda Moulton Hale. This is hostile, Kurt. She couldn't answer one real question. She fell apart into a puddle of delusional disbelief, like implosion. She couldn't handle one question. Some of you people need to get out of your delusion bubbles and accept that extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. And in the case of Dave Grush so far, not only do we not have extraordinary proof, we got no proof. And nothing you say is going to change that. And I hear the arguments, right? Oh. Yeah, let's hear another spooky Skinwalker Ranch story. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to play that clip. Every time I play that clip, I have to file paperwork because they're scumbags that don't believe in free use. But here's Ryan Graves says there's been an influx of people who have contacted. Let me share my screen. Sorry. And I gotta put my fair use banner up as well. This is fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public and discussing the videos that we're sharing. This is certainly covered under fair use and allowable by law. All right. So Ryan Graves, for those unaware, he's running an organization and he seems real happy. Ryan Graves says there's been an influx of people who have contacted his organization since the hearing and spoke to Kirkpatrick's letter, saying that they felt it was disappointing that Kirkpatrick would feel that way. Yeah, it's disappointing that he would feel like people are lying and trying to slander him and damage his reputation, maybe even get him fired from his job with lies. Oh, it's terrible. People are calling me and saying it's terrible.
Correct. So, yeah, since the hearing, there have been an influx of people coming to safeaerospace.org and joining both as pilots, as people just want to support this conversation. And a lot of those pilots have shared their stories. There have been a number of commercial pilots that have recently signed up that have been confirming some of the sightings that I spoke about, as well as sharing some new data about potentially some new cases. So we certainly have our work cut out for us.
An interesting development since the hearings, Ryan, is the Arrowhead, Dr. Kirkpatrick, coming forward with this statement that I just read a couple of minutes ago, really not happy about the hearings, calling out David Grush.
Yeah. Well, why doesn't David Grush provide him with the evidence then? Or did he already? And they determined it was nothing burger nonsense from UFO grifters. Look, there's a real possibility that they got what Grush has and it's garbage. Why is nobody talking about that? Right? If you're going to claim that there's alien bodies and intact spacecraft, you better have smoking gun real evidence and proof. And if you don't have it, you should sit down and shut up and don't dare call yourself a whistleblower until you have that evidence. And then we've got all kinds of people who claim they have that evidence but won't come forward. That's something else we should talk about. What about Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar and George Knapp making millions of dollars? They claim they have smoking gun evidence and proof. They know where the element 115 is, right? Someday they're going to dig it up. Wouldn't the hearing have been the day to dig it up? Right? Then we've got Ross Coulthard. He knows the location of a giant alien spaceship, but he can't tell us. Yeah, there is a cover-up. It's your disclosure dork UFO profiteers covering up. Why don't they disclose what they know? There's always some we got the proof, but we can't show you. It's the laser gun on the playground. A 5-year-old on a playground. I got a laser gun. And the rest of the 5-year-olds say, show us the laser gun. Oh, I can't. And then the 5-year-old with the laser gun claims makes excuses. There is a cover-up. Why aren't these true believers going after the goddamn people who say they have smoking gun proof but refuse to share it? Like Grush, like Corbell, like Lazar, like Knapp, like Ross Coulthard. Why aren't they going after them? They're holding up disclosure. Why don't you guys spend all day, harassing them instead of skeptics who are pointing out these logical fallacies and big, huge problems with this whole grift?
Did that surprise you? What did you make of that? Like, here's the statement again, saying that he was deeply disappointed. Were you surprised to see him come out with that statement on his LinkedIn?
Well, disappointed to see him come out that way. I would be disappointed to hear if he thought that hearing in any way was a slight on any of the men or women that were serving under Arrow that he's worked with.
How could it not be a slight? You guys basically said he's ineffective and not being transparent.
I don't think anyone would speak.
Oh, you know what? That's enough. We'll go on to the next thing. And by the way, Michael Huntington correctly pointed out something today that I think is incredibly important. Ryan Graves is the one that's not being transparent. Ryan Graves is the one that is using completely and totally misleading claims. He says things like we, right? We saw. Who's we? And this is important. Talk about not being transparent. Welcome to the UFO war where facts matter. You're going to claim Kirkpatrick's not being transparent? How about Graves? Graves is recounting the alleged, uncorroborated, and uninvestigated account of an unknown someone else on an unknown date. He never saw a UFO at any time. He intentionally confusing we denotation of himself as a witness is manipulative, and the real encounter is devoid of content. Facts matter. If you're going to claim somebody else isn't being transparent, maybe you shouldn't use terms like we saw. You didn't see anything, Ryan Graves. You are running an organization and you're trying to get funding around UFOs. We know what your motivation is. We all know what your motivation is. But let's move on to the next contestant. Let's move on to the next part. There's so much more to share. And by the way, thanks to who is Axelrod, Go Kicks Rocks. Here's another person that is withholding disclosure from you. The TTSA U.S. Army credit agreement is scheduled to close out in September unless extended. Tom DeLonge was crowdsourced sourcing more metamaterial in February. Lou Elizondo and Tom DeLonge and TTSA claimed that they had metamaterial that came from UAP. Where's it at? Why don't you bring that into Congress? Why don't you show the analysis of that? Oh, because it was arts parts and old hoax from 20, 30 years ago. A proven hoax. And who pushed that before TTSA? Linda Moulton Howe. And then they bought it from her for $30,000. Then they got a government contract by convincing the Army that it was something important. They have proof of alien material on Earth, according to them. At least that's what they implied, right? The Atom Project. Why aren't they disclosing what they have? Oh, that's right, because it's all a grift. That's why. Now let's move on to the next part. Sorry, that caught my eye. Okay, great. Now, I mentioned that all of these believer people wanted the United States government to take UFOs seriously, and they wanted serious scientific study of these topics. But then, when the scientists say we haven't found any proof of extraterrestrial life, all the believers turn on them and start attacking them, threatening their jobs, right? Harassing them, because they're not saying what the believers want to hear. And everybody loved Gillibrand. I guarantee she's going to be the new enemy. They're going to start harassing her, and she's the bad guy now. Why? Because she's backing up Kirkpatrick and his statements and agreeing that they don't have the evidence. Isn't that interesting? All right, and Jason Calavito mentions this. As I mentioned for CNN, Gillibrand saw no evidence of aliens, and now she endorses Kirkpatrick, who also found no evidence of alien conspiracies. So is she part of the conspiracy too? Or could it be that there is no evidence of aliens? And then we get the mental gymnastics. But I guarantee that people are going to start attacking Gillibrand now and saying she's part of the cover-up.
Oh, we'll have another hearing.
Why? Because she's not telling the UFO believers what they want to hear.
Oh, we'll have another
And that's
hearing,
when they turn.
I've had some meetings with Dr. Kirkpatrick recently to get an update on where he is on different things. But there'll be another public report coming out by I think by January.
Yeah.
And he's just working through, and I think he's being extremely productive, and I'm very grateful for the work Arrow's doing. And he is trying to interview all the people that would know anything about any past programs.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have the right man on the job. Oh,
We have
we'll
the
have
right
another
man on the
hearing. Yeah,
job.
I've had some meetings with.
We have the right man on the job, and he's interviewing anybody that might know anything about past programs. Kirkpatrick is on the record in a recent interview saying that nothing is being withheld from him, including anything that Grush has. And still, he is saying that he found no credible evidence of alien visitation or a back engineering program. So let's check. Let's go on to the next thing, because the next thing that I have to share with you is pretty damaging insofar as the lie by omission. We've talked about this before. There's a lie by omission. It is a very, very common thing. They will brag about certain things, but they never give you the full story. So recently, this guy, Matt Ford, who was previously I thought it was a sock account, standforbetter.org. He doesn't stand for better. He stands for garbage propaganda, Matt Ford. And he is now the biggest UFO circle jerker that ever lived. Because, and here's another thing, isn't it great that, some people come out of nowhere and start a YouTube channel, and they have, television level, super professional sets and cameras and everything. They didn't earn their place. Somebody put them there, but okay. And he, of course, gets all the interviews with all the UFO celebrities because he's willing to do the lie by omission. He's willing to do the UFO circle jerk and not ask hard questions, right? He interviews people that lie constantly, and he doesn't ask them about any of the past lies they've been caught in. He runs the good propaganda show. He's a propaganda mouthpiece for the UFO believers. Congratulations. And, it is what it is. But here's some two dots that nobody else seemed to connect, and I did today. And granted, you got to connect some dots. I don't like to speculate, but this is incredibly damaging. These two videos, when you play them back to back, tell the story of what's happening with Grush, in my opinion. And so apparently Grush already testified before congressional aides for 4 hours. And we get this guy bragging about that and claiming some sort of a cover-up. And by the way, fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. We're sharing some things from the Good Propaganda Show. He's the UFO propaganda mouthpiece, right? That never asks hard questions, that doesn't do any research, that just repeats UFO grifter celebrity talking points. That's his job.
What did Congress know and when? Now, most people are unaware that David Grush testified in a SCIF, in a classified setting with both intelligence committees.
Well, if he testified in a SCIF before with intelligence committees, why wasn't he allowed to do it again at the congressional hearing?
What we are about to tell you is not public knowledge. Multiple sources confirmed that David Grush's congressional testimony occurred in December 2022 at the top secret, sensitive, compartmented information level on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Oh, great. He knows what the acronym SCIF means. Okay. So he got to testify in a classified setting. That means while in the classified setting, he could give them all of his evidence. He could name names. He could name program names. He could name locations. So back then in 2022, he gave them all of his evidence, or all that he had at that point.
While no congressman attended the briefing, over 20 congressional staffers, committee lawyers, Grush, and the Inspector General representative were present. With their classified laptops, these staffers took notes while David Grush testified for 4 hours. 4 hours. Think about that. Now, things were different.
Yeah, and then he goes on to describe there's some kind of a cover-up because then when they did it for the Senate, nobody showed up. But I'm here to tell you that word gets around in Washington, D.C., and this clown is supposed to be running a PAC, a political action committee. He knows that word gets around in Washington, D.C., so he gives all of his information in a classified setting to congressional staffers, right? He gives his information to the congressional staffers in 2022 for 4 hours. And since it was in a classified setting, he could say anything. He could drop all of his information, and he did. Then they go to do it for the Senate, and nobody shows up. And this person is claiming there's some kind of a cover-up. But I have another explanation, and this is where it gets extremely, extremely juicy. Where it gets extremely juicy is that Burchett just said something that I couldn't believe after hearing this clip of this clown. So we've got Grush in a classified setting. He's testifying for 4 hours. He dropped all he knew to congressional staffers. And what did those staffers then do? What did those staffers that were in on that and heard all of Grush's evidence, what did they then do? Well, according to Tim Burchett, they then told Burchett that Grush is not a credible witness. That's right. After the congressional staffers heard all of his top secret classified information, then they went back to the Congress people they work for, including Burchett, and they said that Grush was not a credible witness. Here he is.
We tried to get in a skiff with David Grush, and we were told no, because he does not have security clearance, which is bogus. He knows literally where the bodies are, but he also knows where the craft are. So you would, I mean, honestly.
Sorry for the buffering, friends. Let me try this one more time.
If you got a craft from outer space and it crashes here, something had to be driving it, so, or steering it, or what have you. So I think we've got it's a multifaceted answer.
Why wouldn't he have given all of that information when he testified for 4 hours, right? And there's a separate clip, please bear with me, I'm going to find it, of Burchett saying that congressional staffers came to him and told him that Grush was not a credible witness. So you mean to tell me that congressional staffers who heard this man testify for 4 hours in a classified setting where he could say anything he wanted did not think that he was a credible witness? Could there be perhaps a reason? Maybe they heard all of his evidence, all 4 hours of it, and then they decided that he was not a credible witness. Interesting that Burchett, and I'm sorry I'm struggling, I'll find the clip. Interesting that Burchett, oh yeah, this is great. So then he starts a whole new conspiracy theory. Let's share this clip. This is great. These two propaganda pieces should communicate, because it doesn't look good that Grush was in a classified setting and he told him everything he knew for 4 hours. And then the congressional staffers who heard all of his evidence went back to Burchett and said he's not a credible witness. Here we go. This is great. This is great.
Staff members blocked, told us that David Grush wasn't reliable, and it's not their position to do that. See, that is the swamp. You got somebody whispering in their ear, some contractor or some friend or somebody in Congress is compromised because they went on a trip overseas and they let their guard down and ended up getting filmed doing something they shouldn't have been doing. And that's exactly what the Russians would do. They would let these honeypots, and our own people would do it just as well. They're just as dirty. And so,
my goodness.
This whole thing just stinks from top to bottom, Brian. Every step of the way they have fought up. Staff.
Okay, so here he is again. Staff members, congressional staffers told him that Grush was not a reliable witness.
Staff members blocked, told us that David Grush wasn't reliable, and, it's not their.
After they heard all of his evidence for 4 hours, they go to Burchett and they say.
Staff members blocked, told us that David Grush wasn't reliable, and, it's not their position to do that.
You gotta love it. So apparently, once you hear David Grush's actual evidence, you don't think he's a reliable witness. Could it be because it all came from grifters? Could it be because it's various things that are already been on the internet for 20 plus years and he's got nothing new? He's got no actionable intelligence, despite the huge bluff. People are saying that he knows exactly where the spaceships are. Dude, don't you think congressional staffers would have checked, right? He testified under oath, apparently, in a skiff, in a classified setting. He could give them all of his evidence. And apparently he did for 4 hours. Then he did it again for 8 hours. And people are saying that he's not a reliable witness. Maybe anybody who hears his so-called evidence will come to the same conclusion that he is not a reliable witness after actually getting to hear his evidence. And again, If the DOD cleared him to talk about alien bodies in public and crash retrieval programs, he can say anything he wants about alien bodies and crash retrieval programs. It's not classified. Why would he continually refuse to answer questions in a public hearing? Could it be it's a grift? Could it be he's waiting for the documentary? And we want to thank Patrick Sheehan, longtime show supporter, for a kind and generous $9.99 super chat. If you're just joining us, we've just connected a few dots. And Matt Ford's bragging. He gave all of his classified information to congressional staffers. Then we got Burchett saying, congressional staffers said he wasn't a reliable witness. That's not their job. And they were compromised by the Russians. Come on, man. It's all a grift. And it's going to come crashing down. It's just a matter of how long is this grift going to take before we know it's a grift. And, you know, one of the things that occurred to me as well is thank you, Patrick Sheehan, very much appreciate it. Do you remember that, you know, I've been here too long. I've seen these cycles. It's rinse and repeat time, friends. When Corey Goode was the big whistleblower on campus and telling his ridiculous stories with no proof or evidence and always claiming that proof or evidence was going to come, the same thing happened. People were doxxed. People were threatened. People were intimidated. People were harassed into silence if you were critical of Corey Goode. Then we got the new whistleblower, supposed whistleblower, who ran a Pentagon imaginary program in the land of make-believe or the land of imagination, right? Lou Elizondo. And the same exact tactics that Corey Goode used, which was to wind up a bunch of followers and send them out to attack, threaten, intimidate, dox, and harass critics. Allegedly, according to witnesses, Lou Elizondo did the same thing. Now we're on to Grush. And people are threatening, intimidating, harassing, and doxing people who are critical of the story. All of this has happened before, and it'll all happen again. And we'll be here to bring it to you. Thank you, Patrick. Very much appreciate it. And thanks to all the kind and generous benefactors. Lou Reviews is here. Welcome, Lou Reviews, and says he's a kook. Oh, yeah, Lou Reviews, I don't know if you know, but you got put on a thumbnail as the biggest, the most hated in ufology. And then he said, oh, he's not that bad. He was nice to me. Maybe I should put somebody else on the thumbnail. He didn't even trash you. He just clickbaited you on the thumbnail so people would tune in, and then he didn't even say anything about you. You gotta love these people. Yes, at least 5 years it's going to take, says Lou Reviews. By then, they've all got their $1 million contracts. Yeah, they'll make millions of dollars off this grift. Look at what they did to Squid. Yeah, and all this has happened before, and the cycle keeps repeating. This is the tactic of the UFO grift. You got to shut down anybody critical, and you can't let your believer, follower, people who are sending you money or buying your crap even hear the questions people are asking. Let's get that echo chamber going. Look at all those grifters that blocked New York Post reporter Stephen Greenstreet. I love it. I love it. By the way, they've all blocked me too. I think most of them or all of them. Maybe not Alex Dietrich, but the rest of them did. I never said anything bad about her, so I'd be surprised if she did. But most of them have blocked me, right? Because they want an echo chamber. They don't want people asking hard questions. And, you know, to me, that is the hallmark of a grift. If you're really bringing truth and disclosure, then why would you care if somebody asked you a question? You would not block them. You'd just answer the questions if you're being so truthful and bringing us disclosure. But that's not what we get from the grift squad, right? Now, we're going to go over this Ross Coulthard thing. Oh, by the way, before I do, I just want to share this real quickly. There's a new channel that we've started because I don't want to waste my airtime on these clowns. So Please subscribe to my new channel. I will start uploading there soon. If Gufon wants to keep lying, and so does Third Phase of Moon, we'll have an easy place to store evidence. So we're going to put all the ridiculous lies and takedowns and debunks of their garbage. We're going to put that all on a separate channel, and I'd appreciate the support there. They threatened and intimidated a filmmaker into silence, and we helped distribute it. In fact, I was so sure that people should see those documentaries that I broadcast them every day on Twitter. Free documentaries. Follow me on Twitter at Stephen Cambion. And by the way, every time their attack clown lies about me, I add 30 days to the counter of time that I keep broadcasting those every day on Twitter and Facebook. And by the way, he's such an idiot. Go search for them on either Twitter or Facebook. You find a lot of me, you don't find a lot of them. You know, they're not smart enough to do this with me. But, you know, it is what it is. I got to find, here's something else I thought was interesting. Here's something else that's extremely interesting about the grift squads. Update: all the tapes, military codes, video frames, and additional information obtained from multiple individuals proved to be fake. This is about the vagina UFO case. I know it's not vagina, but it sounds like vagina. Varginha UFO case. Some of these criminals have sold these fake materials for thousands of dollars and are under private and military investigation. For those unaware, James Fox promised everybody that a real film of the Varginha alien was going to come out. And he overhyped, and underdelivered. The third time he sold that pathetic story was recently in another film. And his only new evidence were completely and totally anonymous sources, right? Filmed in shadow that nobody else is allowed to interview. Again, piss poor, weak evidence and grifting. James Fox has made millions of dollars, hasn't proven anything. Jeremy Corbell has made millions of dollars, hasn't proven anything. George Knapp has made millions of dollars, haven't proven anything. Stephen Greer has made millions of dollars, hasn't proven anything. Elizondo and the TTSA techno scam crew have made millions of dollars, alleged techno scam crew under SEC investigation, apparently, haven't proven anything. Do you notice the pattern? They all make millions of dollars, but they never bring us the evidence or the proof. And we thank William Runner for a kind and generous $10, says, love the show. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support of the show. It is much, much appreciated. And we appreciate you. So interestingly, because of James Fox, the criminals came out. And if you ask me, there's more than just criminals trying to sell fake videos of aliens. Some of the criminals may indeed be the people pushing the stories, but that's my personal opinion. Alleged criminals, whatever. Yeah. Mycroft Holmes says, is this referencing the same video footage that your team viewed and you were trying to obtain, or something different, please? Yeah. Yeah. So, James Fox claimed that he had seen video and he was going to try to get the video. And now suddenly there's reports that people are selling completely fake videos and there's a criminal investigation related to that case. You got to love it. You got to love it. Now we get into the Ross Coulthart propaganda. He's the guy who's been caught selling completely and totally provably fake alien stories. Well, I think multiple times. He's been caught selling completely and totally provably fake stories multiple times. He's a disgraced journalist from Australia, the perfect CIA asset, right? But that's a story for another time. We'll get into the CIA infiltration into the UFO file soon enough. But here's Coulthart with another propaganda piece. By the way, there's a new propaganda piece by Jeremy Corbell also going on News Nation. And guess who is connected to News Nation? George Knapp, because the same parent company and executives that own News Nation also had a hand in George Knapp's mystery wire. It's a big club, and you can make millions of dollars with no evidence, but I ain't in it. So there's that. But there's a new propaganda piece that was very clearly, Lou Reviews is here, and everybody attacked him for saying this. Look at the video editing. Jeremy Corbell put that piece together. It's a nice, cozy relay. Everybody's making money. Jeremy Corbell got paid by News Nation. Ross Coulthardt's getting paid by News Nation. I'm sure George Knapp is getting some money somewhere from this whole story, right? Are they all going to give the money back if this turns out to be one big nothing burger? Serious question. At least give the money to charity, because you all overhyped and underdelivered this nothing burger lie so far.
Incredible as it may seem, Roswell was true, the 1947 Roswell crash. There are multiple other crash retrievals that have allegedly taken place. Now, why do I know this? Why can I feel confident about feeling that Mr. Grush is saying what he's saying?
Because you have to be confident in order to make millions of dollars, like all your UFO grifting heroes.
It's true. To the extent that a journalist can feel that something is corroborated, I have spoken to multiple witnesses on background who have assured me not only that Mr. Grush is a witness of high repute and high credibility, I have spoken to people who have directly witnessed what he's saying he's been told about.
On background, that's journalist lingo for I can't reveal my sources. So great. Some anonymous sources told you that the guy who won't show us any evidence is right. You know, this is the wackadoo prover maneuver, or the anonymous prover maneuver. Well, we've got a guy who's making fantastical claims, huge claims of alien visitation on Earth and crashed UFOs, and we have intact spacecraft. He's making huge claims, but he can't show us any evidence. But don't worry, I talked to some sources that have to remain anonymous, and they told me it's all true. This is the prover maneuver, the anonymous prover maneuver. And again, these are the people that are keeping disclosure from you. Name names. Come on, bitch. You got the evidence. Name some names. Why won't he name the names of who told him this, so that we can all interview those people? We can all get our disclosure from these people who have seen these things with their own eyes. Here come the excuses for why he can, I think.
I asked David Grush, what about bodies? And he does confirm that there have been non-human, yes, alien bodies.
He doesn't confirm it, he alleges it. To confirm it, you need some evidence. There has to be evidence to confirm a claim. And so far, we got claims. The same claims that we have had to the nearest of my recollection. Remember, I'm only so old here. I remember hearing these claims first in the 1980s, a long time ago. The aviary. It all goes back to that. It goes back further because Len Stringfield wrote books claiming alien bodies and crash retrievals in the 1970s. People have been making these claims for a long time. David Grush does not confirm all these claims. He also alleges similar claims. But in order to confirm it, Ross Coulthart, English is important and language is important. You said he confirmed it. No, evidence would confirm it. Stories are just more allegations and don't confirm anything.
Covered. Incredible as it may seem, the United States government and possibly other governments in the world are in possession not only of non-human technology, craft and other technology, they're also in possession of alien bodies.
Big allegations. And you know what I love? They're using fake footage here. There should be a disclaimer like recreation or something. No, just use fake footage.
I have spoken to people who have told me that they have seen alien bodies.
This is from the Roswell movie, I believe. The Hollywood Roswell movie.
I was first told that by those people. I did not for the life of me believe it. I've still got trouble dealing with it. And frankly, as I've said repeatedly, I don't think I'll believe any of this until I have the opportunity to kick the tires of the flying saucer and shake the hand of the nearest alien.
Well, he knows, remember, he said previously that he knows where a giant spaceship is. I don't know about you, but if I knew for sure, and I was really sure that I knew where an alien spaceship was on Earth, then why not go and see the alien spaceship. Oh, that's right. Excuses. That's what we get. We get big claims and excuses. This is the same man who promised us that he had conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku. What happened to that story? Oh, he did the Cosmic Con shuffle. He went away. Hope you forget about that one. Come back with new fake claims that he will likely never provide real or verifiable evidence for.
I mean, it's an incredibly confronting issue to hear these kind of claims when we've all been taught in the media, we've been socially conditioned to accept that this is something that must be ridiculed. But what I now realize from talking to Mr. Grush.
No, I don't really see people ridiculing it. Even people that don't know a lot about UFOs and aliens, when they talk to me about this, majorly they say, Stephen, you're really into this. Is there evidence or is this just stories? That's what I hear. I hear people asking questions. Mostly people want to know if there's evidence or is this just stories? And so far, it's just stories. And what are all of these? What is this Griff Squad going to do if this whole thing comes crashing down? If this whole story comes crashing down and we find out that Grush's evidence is a bunch of stuff from the internet, from a bunch of UFO wackadoos like Eric Putoff, Eric Davis, Lou Elizondo, Gary Nolan, and others, well, what if we find out that that's the case? What are these guys going to do? Are they just going to go away for a little while and come back with new fake stories? That's what I think is going to happen here. But I think that the blowback from this big bluff, remember, this is Ross Coulthardt's second huge bluff. And boy, I didn't think he could get any bigger of a bluff than the last one when he deceptively edited his promos to say they had conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this renowned scientist. Then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. Go ask Michio Kaku. He didn't confirm shit. They didn't have any evidence. Huge bluff. I didn't think he could create a bluff bigger than that. And now here we are. Even bigger bluff. And ask anybody that plays poker. Somebody might beat you badly on a hand of poker with a big bluff, but you don't let them do it twice. There's tells when someone is bluffing. And Ross Coulthard shows all the signs of he's got tells, and he's dropping all of his tells that this is all another bluff. Oh, I know where huge alien spacecraft are buried, and where they're being hidden, right? And they're so big that they couldn't hide them, so they just built buildings around them. He knows the smoking gun evidence and proof of aliens, but he can't tell us. Just like he knows the names of people who have seen these things with his own eyes, but he can't tell us. Can't tell us. Bluff, 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 bluff.
Is that it really has been the case that there's been a deliberate disinformation operation run by the US intelligence community to try and suppress interest and coverage of this issue. The media, we in the media, have been taught to ridicule and belittle this subject, to stigmatize.
Who taught you that? I'm in the media. Nobody taught me to do that. I know friends that are journalists and newspaper writers. Nobody taught them to do that.
It with a taboo that means that it's career suicide to go near it.
Yeah. Career suicide. That's a clip. Somebody's got a clip, him saying career suicide. Then we got to splice in, we have alien bodies, career suicide. We know where giant UFOs are, career suicide. I think we may see a career suicide here, Ross Coulthard. Yeah, but luckily, I think he's kind of retired, so it won't really matter if he loses anything, right? Interesting. So let me just check my. Oh yeah, here we're gonna do this. We will present the next thing, and I want to thank Mike Colangelo. I take a lot of clips from him because he finds them and posts them all, and it saves me the trouble. So there, I credit him. Don't rat me out to anybody, Mike, and tell people that I steal your research, right? It's all public domain. But I thought this was interesting because here are the things. You got to hear this.
Here's what he confirmed under oath in the.
He didn't confirm anything. He alleged it. You notice the play on language? That's both Ross Coulthard and this Bruce Zybel saying that Grush confirmed things. He didn't confirm anything. You need evidence to confirm things. He alleged things.
Here's what he confirmed under oath in the halls of Congress today. I think this is a fairly full list. In addition to the administrative terrorism that he talked about, which I agree with you is a great term, he confirmed that murder had actually occurred, he thought, or was led to understand, in the keeping of this secret. He confirmed that deaths have occurred during the investigation of the phenomenon. He confirmed alien craft. He confirmed that some of them are intact, not just crashes. He confirmed the B word, as I like to say, which is bodies.
Yeah, and see, here's the problem. I think these guys all these two work together, so they sure share notes. Let's keep saying he confirmed things instead of using the proper terminology that he alleged things, because people won't realize the difference. And it sounds more convincing that he confirmed all this than he alleged or made allegations of all of this. Language is important. And, you know, these two guys are supposed to be journalists, both of them, right? You know, I don't know what they went to college for. I think journalism, though, or something like that, right? They know this. You can't say confirmed unless there's evidence and real confirmation. You have to say alleged, but that won't stop them. It's a grift. It's all a grift. Even their language proves that this is a pre-planned grift.
He confirmed reverse engineering. He confirmed that some of this reverse engineering was part of the aerospace industry, which would make the situation that he's talking about, the military industrial complex that President Eisenhower warned us about back in 1961. I mean, he put some stuff on the table. He laid some cards down, and I got the sense that people of both parties who were in that hearing.
He sure did. He laid a lot of bluff cards down. You know what we didn't get to see? Any goddamn aces. No kings, no queens, no jacks, no full house. He laid some cards down. A bad bluff hand. That's what he laid down.
Took away from it. We've got to dig down on these things. We can't just let these stand. We need to go in and we need to hear the man's story. If he doesn't tell, if he's not capable of telling us the story completely in public, then we got to get him in a classified hearing. And I believe that is going to happen immediately. And remember, he's already, as you pointed out, and I pointed out today, he's already done 11 and a half hours of that, which means.
Yeah, he's already testified under oath, and congressional staffers, and in a secure location where he could talk about anything classified. And the congressional staffers came away from that and said he was not a reliable witness. And the Department of Defense cleared him to talk about alien bodies and talk about alien crash retrieval programs, which means by definition, none of that is classified. He could say anything he wants about that, but yet he refuses to. Do we see this grift falling apart right before our eyes yet? He confirmed it. 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 He didn't confirm anything. He made allegations. He alleged things. That's not confirmation. Boy, he sure laid down some cards here.
He has the goods. So people.
He has the goods, but he can't show them to us. He did show congressional staffers who apparently came away saying he was not a reliable witness, though. And he did tell the DOD for clearance what he was going to talk about. And they said, sure, you want to talk about alien bodies? Go ahead. Sure, you want to talk about crash retrieval programs? Go ahead. But now he refuses to, unless he's in a secure location. But he already gave his full testimony for 11 hours, according to these people, in a secure location. And people at those meetings came away saying that he's an unreliable witness. Interesting. This is how a grift is coming down, friends.
People keep saying, well, you know, I didn't see any proof today, and to which that kind of makes me want to have to tear my fists out of the ceiling, because What are people really saying? Are they saying that Dave Grush was supposed to sneak a document out of the Pentagon? He was supposed to sneak part of a spacecraft out, or a autopsy report?
Real whistleblowers drop evidence. Storytellers do not. Did Snowden have documents to back up what he was alleging? Snowden confirmed things. Grush alleges them with no evidence. And I don't care what you say. You people can attack me in the comments. Well, testimony is evidence. Great. Great. We got stories under oath. We did not get any verifiable evidence of claims made. These are huge claims. This man is claiming people were murdered. This man is claiming there's alien spaceships. This man is claiming we have biologicals. That's the new buzzword. Non-human biologicals or alien bodies. And yet he's providing zero evidence. He's been here for a few months now, since June 5th. It's going to be August 5th soon. That will be 60 days, and we have not gotten any evidence. None. We've just gotten stories.
Or a slide with alien DNA on it. That's not how it works. What he did come out with was, as we said, the names and the dates, etc.
No, he didn't. He refused to say the names. He refused to say the dates in an open session. But yet he did say the names and the dates in a closed session, apparently, for congressional staffers, and they found his testimony, they found him to be an unreliable witness. We know that now, thanks to Matt Ford, who slipped up with too big a bluff at the Good Propaganda Show. But we can connect the dots.
That's the proof. Now it's up to the Congress. And for the first time,
that's the proof? The names and the dates are the proof? But he didn't name the names, and he didn't give the dates or anything. He refused to give any specifics under oath. In fact, he refused to repeat anything he said on News Nation.
I think that particular lens is starting to focus. It's up to the Congress to say, these are significant charges. They're fantastic. It doesn't mean they're not true, the fact that they're fantastic. And we need to look into them.
No, but it does mean that we need evidence.
In a more specific way, and we need to dig into them to actually get the truth. So, wow, there seem to be a lot of people who are on that committee highly motivated to get at that. On the other hand, I'm not going to get up and do the happy victory dance right now, because the one...
Oh, come on. You guys gave all these disclosure dorks the biggest disclosure boner they've ever had. That's the way this works. Somebody pointed out on Twitter. That's the way all this works. Oh man, you give these guys a big, huge disclosure boner, right? And then they all come out and start saying, oh, it's here. Disclosure is here. We got disclosure. We got such huge disclosure boners from Ross Coulthart and Jeremy Corbell. Thanks for the disclosure boner. But then the boner goes away, and they get real soft when they realize there's no verifiable proof of claims being made for almost 60 days now. No evidence for 2 months. But he gave his evidence to the ICIG. But he gave his evidence to Congress, congressional staffers. And of course, they said that he was an unreliable witness to Tim Burchett. And it would appear that Arrow is in possession. Right? He said nothing was hidden from him. Does that include Grush's so-called evidence or testimony in the skiff? I think so. And Kirkpatrick and Gillibrand have now come out and said there's no proof of extraterrestrial anything. There's no proof of a back engineering program. So the burden of proof is on these grifters. All these grifters got to put up or shut up. It's been 2 months already. We've waited 2 months. That's patient enough. Where's the goddamn evidence of claims being made? Where is the evidence? It's been 2 months. There is none so far. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Drop an alien body on my front lawn and say, there's the body. There's the proof, bitches. I'll live stream that shit. I swear to God, I will live stream an alien body from my front lawn tomorrow. If somebody drops a Grush, Call Grush. Get a body over here. I got a new studio. I will buy a freezer for that bitch. Come on. Where is the evidence? Apparently there is none, because the burden of proof is on the claimant. And, you know, it's been said before, and I will say it again, that which can be claimed without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And these stupid excuses, well, that's classified. Somebody told me on Twitter today, he can't release the evidence, Stephen. It's all classified. No, the DOD said he could talk about alien bodies and crash retrievals. Therefore, whatever he has is not classified. Come on. I am just at a loss because, listen, this may turn out to be a bigger hoax than I have ever seen in my entire life. And that would include such amazing things as the Roswell slides, complete and total hoax, the alien autopsy hoax, complete and total hoax. They had evidence. It was terrible evidence that was manipulated and, carefully crafted to create the illusion of a true story. But these were hoaxes that had evidence. If this hoax doesn't even have any evidence except for some old Italian UFO case that Lou Elizondo told him about, holographic theory that Hal Puthoff told him about, some anomalous material that Gary Nolan told him about, then we're going to have a real problem here. And I don't think that any of these people should or would or should be able to ever show their face here again after this. If this comes crashing down, but then again, we've seen tremendous examples of people, right, that have been caught lying and hoaxing and scamming over and over and over again, like Linda Moulton Howe, like Stephen Greer, like Third Phase of Moon. And they just can't, they still somehow are able to survive and get an audience. It could be because, a lot of things don't, people don't stick around for decades like, crazy people like me. They get into this for a few years, then they lose interest when they finally realize, oh, it's an endless rabbit hole of nonsense and we never get proof. A lot of people, as soon as they realize that, they check out. But then you get new people that don't know that this is an endless rabbit hole of nonsense and you never get the evidence and you never get the proof, right? So the grifters can survive. That's why they do the Cosmicon Shuffle and they go away for a little while so that the cycle of the influx of new interested people repeats, right? I didn't share this, but wouldn't be the UFO wars. So far, we're sharing a lot of believers' talking points and nonsensical statements and excuses for why there's no evidence. Stephen Greenstreet and Mick West did a broadcast talking about this hearing.
The big headline is nothing new. Well, let's talk about evidence because that's been the main thing that's been lacking the last 6 years is a lot of stories, a lot of photos with stories behind them, a lot of videos with stories behind them. But it's really been lacking on evidence of non-human intelligence, of aliens, of extraterrestrials.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I tend to agree. We've had an awful lot of stories and big claims being made, and things turn out to be, Batman balloons and, that go fast wasn't going fast. Because these stories or this was flares, and the people that sold the flare story are going to deny it was flares at first until they absolutely have to fess up that it was flares. These stories, even when they have evidence, it's terrible evidence, and they're carefully crafted illusions of true stories. And eventually, they come crashing down. And if history is our greatest teacher, and I believe it is, this story will come crashing down too. Just like Elizondo's stories, and Stephen Greer's stories, and Linda Moulton Howe's stories, and Corey Good's stories, and David Wilcock's stories. They all come crashing down eventually, and the truth comes out. It's just a matter of how long. In the case of Corey Good, he grifted for 8 years before he was forced under oath to admit that he made it up, allegedly, essentially, whatever you want to call it. He has some convoluted explanation for why he made up secret space stories, and he's never been to space, but he's somehow a secret space program whistleblower. Eventually, the truth comes out. I truly believe that saying, 3 things cannot long be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Unfortunately, with these UFO grifts, sometimes it takes years for these stories to unravel. And I just don't want to be here for 5 years trying to, get to the end of the grift unraveling. Let's unravel it. Let's peel off that Band-Aid as quickly as we can and move on to the next grift.
It all led up to today's hearing. There were a lot of expectations for evidence. Did you see, were you convinced, was any evidence presented?
There was almost no new evidence. Professor Avi Loeb was running the Galileo project, which is a scientific project to look for UFOs, basically, in our airspace, said a couple of days ago, we need real evidence, not what people said.
Yeah, and by the way, Avi Loeb is still selling a book claiming the Oumuamua thing was an interstellar artificial object, like a spacecraft or an AI probe, and that has been proven to be completely and totally false. And Avi Loeb has also collected millions of dollars so far to study UFOs. It's a great grift, and it's a great club full of grifters, and I ain't in it. I'm one of the few people that can tell you the truth about all of this. So good for Avi Loeb asking for real evidence. He's got millions of dollars. Go find us some evidence, Avi Loeb, and take that book off the market where you were completely and totally wrong about Oumuamua. You shouldn't keep collecting money for that book.
And really all we've got from these hearings is what people said. David Grush is going by mostly what people told him.
Yeah, and what people told him that. So far, we know verifiably, it seems that he got information from a lot of people that have been involved in the UFO grifts for years, including perhaps or allegedly Elizondo, Gary Nolan for sure, maybe Hal Puthoff, and others. Very troubling if this man just listened to people like that.
And then we have these eyewitness accounts of Fravor and Graves, and then they tell us that there's more information. We need to get to that real evidence.
You could tell that some of these congressional leaders were attending their UFOs 101 class.
Yeah, these people in the government know absolutely nothing about all of this. If they did, they should all lose their jobs for wasting government money on a bunch of UFO people that have never proven anything in years. And I can't believe that, people who have been selling provably fake stories for years, in some cases decades, get reserved VIP seating at a government hearing, and they get to enter congressional testimony. You're grifters. Who cares about your testimony? Why don't you give all the Bob Lazar money back?
And I think a lot of people are disappointed. They thought Congress was on this the last few years, that they'd been digging evidence and information and all this stuff, and that we'd be further along than just the very, very, very basics at this point.
Yep. That's all we got. Just the very, very basics. Just the very, very basics. So, I think I have shared enough for now. We may share more tomorrow night. By the way, we'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just a message that we are a viewer-supported show. We're one of the few people that can tell you the truth about all of these things and give you in-depth analysis and investigatory work. I have a big story that I'm working on about Grush and Corbell and the so-called, what did he call it? Retaliation against him? There's going to be more revelations coming that I believe will prove conclusively that we're never going to get any real evidence here, and that we were all manipulated by the same group of people that have been manipulating the UFO community for years with fake stories, all to the tune of millions and millions of dollars collectively made by these people who have yet to provide verifiable evidence or proof of claims. Is this another one of those cases? I think that it very well may be. And if that's the case, that's very unfortunate for this Mr. Grush. I happen to have an autistic child. And if somebody made fun of if somebody took advantage of my autistic child in order to grift, I'd be awfully upset. And so should anybody connected to this Mr. Grush. And I would highly encourage his wife and his family members to contact people that know about the people that he's been hanging out with, apparently, for several years now at UFO conventions, who may indeed have been some of the people that put him up to this whole thing. Because if that's the case, this man may have destroyed his entire career over unproven, unverifiable stories from dubious sources. And if that's the case, then this story, to me, will take an extremely sad turn. I've got more time to share with you. I always have to remind people that this is, the show is not over. But people jump out. I get it. You don't want to hear our appeal as a viewer-supported show. Come back in just a few minutes. I think the bumper's a few minutes total. We do like to remind you that we're a viewer-supported show, and there's things that you can do to support us. An independent voice that will not lie to you, an independent voice that will give you the whole story. These grifters only give you half the story. We're here to make sure you get the other half. Many of you appreciate that. Our thanks to all of you kind and generous benefactors who have already thrown a few bucks in our hat. We appreciate all of you immensely. By the way, I posted our July show journal for Patreon members and UFO or our channel members here on YouTube. So be sure that you check that out after the show. I'm sorry I posted it right before the show, but it's July 31st. I like to get those out on the last day of the month. So here's Mr. Ian to remind you how you too can help us if you choose to. But remember, our content is now and will always be free. It's totally optional to help us. We have the PBS model here, which is working quite well for us because every video we make, just about, I'll just give up this one. I said a lot of language that may be considered off color or whatever, but a lot of times we don't do that once through a broadcast and the video is demonetized before the show is even finished being broadcast. You, the supporters, help make up for that difference, and we thank all of you immensely.
Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Wonderful people like you who enjoy this show send pledges in the form of super chats, super stickers, super thanks, PayPal, or Cash App. Instructions for how to help are in the description. You can also join our Patreon, and for as little as $1 a month you can get extra content. Patreon supporters get a backstage pass, early access to all our production videos before they are distributed publicly, Stephen Cambion's music, private writings, a monthly show journal, and more. You can also become a YouTube channel member for $5 a month. A YouTube membership includes all of the Patreon benefits, plus a special members badge, priority reply to video comments, and the live chat, plus a monthly members-only video. We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, for supporting Truthseekers. Thank you for your generosity and support. Truthseekers is a viewer-supported show. Now there's a great way to support these broadcasts and show your support. Please be sure and check out our merchandise store. Links to our 2 merchandise online stores are in the links to this video or podcast. The Amazon storefront ships super quickly in the United States, Great Britain, and in many more places. Amazon may not ship to your country or location. If that's the case, hit our second merchandise link in the description and visit our Redbubble storefront. Merchandise from our Redbubble storefront ships worldwide, but may take longer than Amazon. We've got a great deal of super high quality merchandise for you to choose from, including t-shirts, phone cases, sweatshirts, and even pillows. The feedback from our products have been overwhelmingly great. Quality products and fast shipping. People all over the world are buying some merchandise and showing their support of the show. Praise the cash! Praise the cash! Praise the cash! We thank you all, kind and generous benefactors, who are buying some merchandise and helping us to continue this journey. Thanks for being here. This is Truthseekers with your host, Stephen Cambion. Please rate, like and comment on our videos or podcasts. If you are listening to an audio podcast, please rate us 5 stars to help us rise in the search rankings. If you are watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to our channel. If you're listening to an audio podcast, we love and appreciate you listeners, but you are missing the live tapings. All our shows are recorded live with video feed. We'd love you to come be a part of our live broadcasts and tapings for the podcast. Head on over to YouTube, click the search tool, the little magnifying glass, put Truthseekers, one word in the search bar, and hit enter. You'll see a strange and mysterious guy with sunglasses. That means you found the channel. Go there, smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to receive up-to-date info on our YouTube channel. We welcome you to be a part of our live taping and our chat room during the live broadcasts. Seek the truth. Speak the truth. This is Truthseekers. Truthseekers.
What if some of that shit is so big? What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved? Big, big, it can't be moved. Big, big. What if some of that shit is so big? What if some of that shit is so big it can't be moved? Big, big. It can't be moved. Big, 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 big. In a country outside of the United States of America. Big. In a country outside of the United States of America. In a country outside of the United States of America. Big. In a country outside of the United States of America. Big, 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 big. They're too bloody 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 big. I know exactly where it is. I know exactly where it is. But it was bollocks big, 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 big. But it was bollocks big, 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 big.
It's so big, friends. And he knows exactly where it is, but he can't tell us. So everybody's right. There is a cover up, but it's the people making all the money that are apparently running the cover up. Isn't that interesting? It's so big they can't move it. And he knows exactly where it is, but he can't tell us. Just like George Knapp knows exactly where the element 115 is buried, but he can't tell us, right? Just like Grush knows exactly where the spaceships are, but he can't tell us. There is a cover-up, and it's the people making all the money, apparently, that are making these big claims. I saw a comment from Digital Vortex, who, by the way, has interesting. Oh, and thank you, Bobby Broadway, for a thrift store wingback chair. Yeah, good idea. I need a wingback chair. Yes, Steve will be back after these messages. Yes, and people, it kind of drives me nuts. Like, I get it. You don't want to sit through a commercial, but geez, it's only a few minutes, and like 25 people drop off every time we play that bumper. Jewel Chicky Arlene, no, says, I can't afford Patreon, but I stay and listen to The Voice. You can email me, Jewel Chicky Arlene, and I'll send you the same videos I send everybody else. We have a list for people that are in reduced circumstances. I'd be happy to add you to it. I hate putting things behind a paywall. Unfortunately, it's kind of necessary. Yeah, Digital Vortex, here's the comment. And by the way, Digital Vortex, please DM me on Twitter or send me an email, because I want to ask you an important question about your new documentary. I just had a guest cancel for this week, and just message me, please, because I got to watch the first 10 or 20 minutes today. Anyway, message me. Digital Vortex says, why is it Grush can speak with impunity to News Nation, but under oath cannot repeat the same talking points and instead simply refers to his interview? A telling aspect that reveals the deception. Yeah, but there's always an out, Digital Vortex, and the true believers say, well, his News Nation interview was entered into the congressional record. I haven't heard verification that that is the case, however, so I'm still going to try to verify that. It's one of the things that I have to, it's on my to-do list, as well as, try to get through to Susan Goff and interrogate her about where Jeremy Corbell may have been getting his, classified images from classified briefings, right, that he claims aren't classified. I know there was an investigation into that. Interestingly, the timeline matches up pretty nice that perhaps, or allegedly, a lot of people are speculating that Jeremy Corbell may have been given some of the materials he's been selling by Dave Grush. That's what people are saying. It's rumors and speculations at this point. Take from that what you will. Yes, William Runner is here and says, the guy said that he knew of people threatened and or murdered by aliens and humans. Yeah, very interesting. And Digital Vortex, please do DM me on Twitter and just say, hey, it's me, and I'll message you back. And thank you, Bobby Broadway, for your kindness, your generosity, and your support of the show. Longtime show supporter. And thanks for being a member. It's good to see that the Sixth Sense is here and not dead. Remember, we all thought he was dead. He's back, friends. And we're glad to see him. Ross could fart. Is it Ross Cold? Come on. There's better things to bust him on him about than his name. Patrick Sheehan, donation for $4.99, freezer fund for the bodies. We have a freezer over there. There's a freezer right in this room. I'm going to have to get my wife to get all the goddamn chicken nuggets and french fries. Do you know, look, you got to try to pick your battles when you're a married man. My wife has a compulsion. Look, man, she loves air fryers and she loves the kids. She loves quick meals for the kids. I swear to God, there's 40 pounds of chicken nuggets and french fries, frozen chicken nuggets and french fries in this freezer, and there's no room for anything else. And when we got the freezer, she agreed that half of it would be for her and half of it would be for me, because the other freezer in the kitchen is all for her. So, and the kids. So it's filled to the top. But you got to pick your battle. So I just let it go because honestly, I like those quick meals too. And there's something nobody tells you. When you're going to be a father, when you know somebody's going to be a father, you better give him a goddamn gift certificate to Costco to buy chicken nuggets and French fries. If you have children, you're going to make so many chicken nuggets. It's ridiculous. They just go through them, man. And I got two hungry boys, especially my older son. He's 11 now, and he eats like a horse, man. Are they suggesting it's in America? Wow, guys, you get all the cool stuff. Funny that, says Mr. Ian. Well, isn't it funny that everybody went on a scavenger hunt on Google Maps for a while trying to find it, right? Siren says, Greer says he will be murdered if he keeps talking. I predict he lives. Yeah, so do I. And thank you for being a member, Siren. Much, much appreciated. We appreciate all of you members and Patreon supporters. Oh, and I forgot. I have to read the. We also you can throw a couple bucks in our hat through Patreon. Some of you are aware. I often say, please, if you're going to send a large amount, please send it through PayPal because some of you are aware of that. YouTube takes 30 or 35%, I think it is now. PayPal just takes like 1% or something. It's really reasonable. Wow. So I was about to thank Spreaker for the PayPal, but that's not a donation. But we thank all you audio listeners for getting us a nice paycheck every month from Spreaker. By the way, please visit our website. It's truthseekershow.com. You can get all the latest audio and video episodes there, truthseekershow.com. Also, we want to tell Elon Musk that he doesn't care about working people because apparently Twitter turned off the ability of audio podcasters to auto-publish to Twitter. We're still looking into this issue, so I apologize. I'm going to have to start manually posting the links, and our impressions and our listens went down by half since Elon Musk made that decision, apparently. And Spreaker will not return emails or phone calls or anything for technical support asking how to fix that. So in other words, every time I published an audio podcast, it would automatically show up on Twitter. It would say new podcast. You've all seen that, right? You can't do that anymore. For whatever reason, as soon as they went to X, they turned that off. So we're going to lose half of our audio podcast paycheck every month because of that change. At least I think so, because the impressions and the downloads have all been cut in half since that. And I've tried manually posting the links. The impressions and the downloads haven't gone back up. So I don't know what's going on, but we thank all of you audio listeners. And I know many of you are drivers and delivery people and Uber drivers. And for insurance purposes, you can't be watching something, but you can listen. So we maintain that audio podcast largely just for people who work for a living and need it in audio format. Apparently, there's some kind of thing. If you get in an accident while you're a professional driver, truck driver, whatever, delivery driver, Uber driver, taxi driver, if you're a driver and you get in an accident and they check your phone and find out that you are watching a video, even if you weren't watching the video and you were just listening to the audio, you could get in trouble. But if it's an audio podcast, you're okay. So we maintain that largely for you guys. Wow. We also want to thank all of you kind and generous merchandise supporters because we got a nice paycheck. I'm seeing that in our PayPal. Merchandise payment for July 2023. We got a payment from Spreaker. We're praising the cash here, friends. We are praising the cash. And boy, what kind and generous people. We want to thank initials KE, because I don't know if they want me to say their name. They did not include a note, but a kind and generous PayPal pledge of $100. We also want to thank Marie for a kind and generous $150 PayPal pledge. And she says Keep doing what you are doing. Love the show. I hope this helps. And Marie has been a longtime show supporter and a big, very generous donor. That girl must have some money. Praise the cash, Marie. We love you and thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And thank you. That is incredibly generous of both of you. KE, kind and generous $100 PayPal pledge, and Marie, kind and generous $150 PayPal pledge. Then we've got initials SM with a kind and generous $5 PayPal pledge. And then we've got initials AL, not L, but initials AL with a kind and generous $50 PayPal pledge. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And none of you guys are including a note. And I always feel like, put the note in, give me your chat room user ID so we can recognize you in the live chat for your kindness, generosity, and support. And then we have initials. One second. There's one more here. Kind and generous. So generous of you. PayPal pledgers tonight. A $75 PayPal pledge. And the initials are GV. Again, no note, but a $75 kind and generous pledge. We are praising the cash hard here tonight. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. I was going to talk about some, toxic person who said something about praising the cash today. But here's what I will say. If people can get paid millions of dollars to lie to people, and by the way, our content is now will always be free. I've talked about that. We have the, a list, an email list of people who are in reduced circumstances. If you're really a fan of the show, just email me. I'll put you on the list. You get the same videos that and benefits that the pledgers and the members and the Patreon supporters get. I hate putting things behind a paywall, but it's necessary because things cost things, Welcome to reality. And to the person who is slagging me for praising the cash, we're going to praise the cash even harder. We're going to get to the level of grift that the grifters are. I feel it. I praise the cash. Hallelujah. There are people all over the world just throwing money at me and helping us to praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash. Hallelujah. We praise the cash hard today. Did you hear that PayPal pledge list? Did you see those super chats? Did you see all the members in our live chat? Praise the cash, bitches. Praise it. That's right. We're going to praise that cash, bitches. And if you don't like it, then click off and go watch a fairy tale channel making millions of dollars praising the cash. Okay? Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Sometimes I got to get some of this stuff out of my system, just get out of my system. I feel better now, and what's funny is that the whole praise the cash thing started out as a joke. It really did. And
Praise the cash is an ironic call out to the grifters, liars and scammers that fraudulently scourge the paranormal community that true experiences have to navigate blind. Stephen doesn't really praise cash. He invests more than he makes from this show. But of course, you knew that already.
Yeah. And unlike grifters, like that scammy channel that just lied about me again, I don't pay any of my bills or my personal expenses from the show. The money goes in a separate account. It goes in the till. If we need something, I take it out of the till. For example, we're building a whole new set here, and I'm sorry that it's taken so long. Actually, I'm going to check on this live on air. God damn Amazon, right? We've been waiting for a backdrop. And now, you ever order something on Amazon because you needed it by a certain date, and then they tell you later, oh, we can't really get it to you by that date. We screwed up. I don't understand. Jesus Christ. So today, listen, I ordered a backdrop. I'm glad I didn't share my screen. I would have just doxed myself. It's got my map. It's got my address and everything. Anyway, so we ordered a big, huge backdrop, and they told us that it would be here in 5 days. It's a 14-foot by 10-foot large studio backdrop, which is the same as this, but huge. 14 by 10 foot, very expensive backdrop. The most expensive backdrop I've ever purchased. Wasn't even that expensive, but thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. I took it out of the till. I ordered it. I said it'll be here in 5 days. That'll give me time. I thought, well, I've got 5 days, so I set up the couches for the guests. I set up the lie detector for the people that were going to be grilling and hooking up the lie detector. I set up my new desk. I set up some of the computers, some of the lighting. We've got the webcams almost wired. We're going to have a 6-cam or maybe even 8-cam. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Multicam set up. We got a producer's booth here now. So I'm hoping that we're going to get somebody to push all the buttons for me so I don't have to do anything but host the show. Anyway, I thought I had 5 days to do that all. I got that all done days ago. Last week, probably I was done all that by like Thursday or Friday, and I cleaned up in here. All we need is the backdrop and to work on the whole setup, to do some testing, and we're good to go with this big, huge, new, beautiful set. And then Amazon tells me, sorry, that's now arriving between August 17th and September 8th. I don't think it's going to take that long, though, because it just passed customs today, which means it's probably in New York City. I didn't know this was coming from China, but there we have it. So there's a huge holdup on the backdrop that we need, because the backdrop that I had was only 10 foot wide, the biggest one that I had. I had a few spares. One was 10 foot wide. It's taken forever, and it's killing me because we want to get the in-person guests here. We want to get the backdrop put up and the shit done. I just want this whole thing done. You know why? So that I can praise the cash better than ever before. That's right. Oh, did you guys ever see that thing where you go someplace and they put you in this booth and the money and you can grab what we want to have one of them to go with the lie detector, right? And if you passed our lie detector exam, we'll give the guest a spot in the money booth, and they can go in there and try to grab as much money as they can. That's a grift. It's impossible. They blow that money so hard you can't grab a hold of it. So I apologize. The new set's coming. What I am going to do is I'm going to get the set as close to finished as I can without that backdrop, and then I'm going to post pictures for our members and our Patreon supporters to let them know that the money in the till is being well spent. Amy Collins says that would suck if the rest of your set was designed around the backdrop. Well, I actually tried to get different backdrops, and then it was undelivered. It's a long story, Amy Collins. I ordered something that looks like it looked like a star field or something, and it was a tapestry. I thought, I'll just get a bunch of these and hang them up behind the guests and behind the couches. I waited 3 weeks for that, and then they said, we can't send you that. It's unavailable. I'm like, great. So then I just said, I've already got a lot of these style backdrops. There's a bunch of them in my office. So I said, I'll just use those. But we need a huge one. And then it's all this stuff, Patrick Sheehan says, sell live tickets. Well, we won't do that. But what we are going to do is once a month, I am going to invite any local viewers to come, and you can sit in the studio audience, which really just means we'll find some extra chairs for you to sit and watch us film the show. And then, I got a bar here and whatever. We'll have a social night with local viewers when we have the live tapings and live shows with the in-person guests. And everybody's welcome as long as you You're not too crazy. Got to keep the crazy to a minimum. Yes, Amy Collins wants a Dino Beaver can. Yes, we need the Dino Beaver can. That's right. New set's got Dino Beavers, damn it. We're going to have some Dino Beavers up in this bitch. Yes, and of course some aliens too, right? This guy looks friendly, I think, right? Yes. Thank you, Amy Collins. Thank you for your kindness as well. The moderators for this show religiously show up for every show, and that costs them time and electricity. They are also not paid. Please be polite to them. Yes, please be kind to the moderators, right? Chuck Bam wants to know if Linda Moulton Howe has milk farts. Oh, gross. Rorschach is here. Welcome, Rorschach. Kind of like the monkey cam that David Letterman had, but in a Dino Beaver. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah. The Sixth Sense says that would be fun. Mr. Ian says, woo fill seats, and lots of people have built bodies of work filling seats. Linda Moulton Howe is one of them, and they are defensive of the time they wasted. Yeah. Get your Dino Beaver spayed and neutered, says Randy. Yes. Chuck Bam wants a private jet, and he'll also come. I also have other special needs like an assistant. Yeah, I'm sure people are going to be making look, all I can tell you for the in-person guests is that it's going to be kind of limiting because it's going to limit people to who can reasonably drive here. I am going to offer guests the gas money because I think that's only fair. Like, look, we'll give you gas money, we'll buy you dinner. That's fair, right? To come and be a guest. Yeah. Mr. E wants to be in the studio audience, right? Sure. Have all the mods on one program. I'm sure there are great stories. Yeah, we got a witch and some weirdos, and boy, we got all kinds of stuff, right? Mr. Ian will need an M3 story one day. Oh, sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that, Sandra McDonald, and thank you for being a member. I used to set up some beaver cams. Oh, geez, Chuck Bam, that's a bad joke, but we'll allow it. We're just going to allow it here. Absolutely. The context says he's just a short drive away. Well, you're always welcome, That's the other thing. A lot of times people will travel to someplace that's right near here. Like if you're in New York City, you're a 3 hour drive from New York City to here. So don't say never. Maybe you'll be in New York City or someplace else. MK Ultra is here. No, the context is in Australia. He's being sarcastic. He couldn't drive here if he wanted to, unless he's got one of David Wilcock's hover cars, right? Because that shit goes in the ocean too, right? MK Ultra. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll make it optional for people. And by the way, MK Ultra Hiking and Gear Review, there's only like 3 or 4 more weeks where the cabin will be pretty filled up with my family. After that, you should come there because from September forward, I'm there by myself and I got that camping trailer. It's not that great, but it's got a little bathroom and a little kitchen, and you won't need the kitchen because I'll cook in the main cabin, but you should come up there because the stuff you guys like, at least you'll love it. And I might put you to work though. But yeah, you guys are on the list for in-person guests. Do a show on DW Pasolka. What the hell is she up to? Simply Star Truck by that dashing Travis Taylor. Yeah. She's somebody that I haven't really looked into. People are asking me to. Spooky wants a crowdfund to be a guest. Aren't you going to be here next year? Right? I hate GoFundMe's, right? It's like, well, why should I pay for this? Let's just GoFundMe this shit and let other people. Yes, the context says I drive on the wrong side of the road, right? Live show from Montauk. Patrick Sheehan, is that where are you living around Montauk? Yeah. Spooky stories read by Mr. Ian. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, the context says one day we'll get back to the U.S. Yeah. Miss Therese says, I was on a panel show thinking it was a video chat. Oh, no, I didn't know. Did you? You didn't know it was a live show? I thought everybody knew. Did I ever look into the climate LARPs? It's on my list. I have a lot of research gathered for stuff like that, Siren One, and thanks for asking. Someday, right? It's just not real high on my list of priorities. Every once in a while, I look through all my folders and I see the climate change folder, and I have got some collected stuff. MK Ultra says, sounds amazing. Nice time of the year, too. I'll bring my DeWalt 12 volt. What do you got? A 12? You got a? Do you mean a tool, or do you mean like a solar generator? We have electricity and everything at the main cabin. It's just a new place. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. While other people are living in their mom's trailers, telling everybody that I don't do good research and I steal people's research, I've been very, very busy. And I want to share this. We talked about this new land that we purchased, and here's a shot of that. This is the new land where the new studio will be built. And just to be clear, because some people are confused, I'm saying I'm building a new studio here at my home for in-person guests, and I am. And then we have the office studio that you guys know I usually broadcast from, but in the summer it gets so hot. It's an attic room, and it gets so hot it's just unbearable up there. So we moved into another room here in my main home, which is in Warminster, Pennsylvania. But in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, we purchased some additional land near my cabin, and I have been walking around in this forest all this past weekend, MK. I have explored miles of this forest, and I can tell you this, that where we're building our studio and own the land, there is nothing for miles but beautiful forest like this. It's a new growth forest. This was clear cut about 100 years ago. So there's not a lot of huge trees. Most of those went with the loggers, but we'll take it. And here, notice that this spot of land is fairly flat. A lot of the land that we bought is hilly. There's a lot of hills and peaks and valleys, and there's big, huge boulders. I walked every inch of the land that we purchased, trying to find the best site that I thought would be the best place to build the compound. We're building a big compound here. This is I wrote the build location of our new studio. Nothing around for miles but a beautiful forest, which, wish me luck, we start clearing the build site and breaking ground this coming weekend. So this weekend coming, you notice some of these trees got to go. Some of them are dead. You know what's funny is that some of these trees are so rotted and dead, you can just push them over. But I'm going to start clearing, and this is going to be where we build the main major big structure. But I'm going to build a smaller structure first, sort of like a 16 by 12 little cabin or something like that, because there's lots of bears around, MK, lots of bears. And I don't feel comfortable spending all this time there. I mean, it's fine if you're packing, but I don't really want to kill. I don't really want to have to shoot a bear. In fact, I would hate that. I love them, and we're in their territory. So I'd rather have a structure that if a bear comes around and gets too close or aggressive, I could just go in the structure while I'm working there and not worry. So I'm going to build a small, called the Bear Shack. I'm going to build a small little A-frame log cabin first from this design that I've been working on, and then we're going to build the main structure. And it'll give me a little practice. I never built an A-frame anything, so a 12 by 16 A-frame should only take me a couple weekends, I think, maybe 3 or 4, whatever. Then we'll start on the main structure. But we're going to be clearing these trees all out of here because that's going to be quite a big, major main building. Now, remember where we're at. We have no water, no electricity, nothing. But we were in that situation at the other cabin. And we solved all the problems. They got electric. We eventually even got internet over there. I'm sure we'll figure something out. At this new location, rainwater catchment system, solar power, wind, gas-powered generator to charge the battery bank if I have to. We'll be fine. But I have decided that I'm largely going to build this whole thing with hand tools. It's log cabin building. You don't need, I mean, a chainsaw would help. But since this is a new growth forest and all the trees are very small, you can cut them down with hand tools and a hatchet and an axe and a bow saw. I know because I was there this weekend and I wanted to see what I was in for, and I took a few standing dead trees down very quickly and easily with a hatchet and a bow saw. So we're going to break ground next weekend, and I'm going to be sharing some videos from this new land and new project. In fact, I'm going to film the whole building process there and share it with all of you. My thanks to all who've asked me about that or told me that they had a similar dream. I'm going to be happy to share that dream and broadcast it to the world. And thanks for everybody who has offered some encouragement and support. You ever see a bear eat a car? Well, no, but my car, it's a long story. My car is a ways off because you're out in the middle of the woods. So my car's on this back road that's a good, I don't know, 500 feet from where the build site is. And if a bear gets too aggressive and gets too close, you don't want to have to run 500 feet to your car. So, yeah, we're going to have Starlink. Starlink may be ready by then, PM. Yeah. And that's Peter, who is a tiny house guy near my cabin. Hello, Peter. I'm starting on that porch build this weekend, too. I spent a lot of time because it rained on Saturday. I didn't do much. On Sunday, I spent a lot of time over at the new land. Love it. Absolutely love it. We might get Starlink. We might get Hughes satellite net because once Starlink starts becoming available, Hughes satellite link, which works, but it's kind of slow and it's expensive, they're going to have to bring their prices down. So one way or the other, we could get internet over there. Or, hey, imagine this. It's a studio that you just work at, and then you take the work and upload it somewhere else. You don't have internet there. If it was up to me, I would do it that way. I really would. Because a lot of the things we'll be doing there, like filming, editing, all that stuff can be done without internet. At least to me, right? Chuck Bam says, I run 500 feet in 48 seconds. You don't want to test that with a bear, though, Chuck Bam. It could be not so good, you know? Taxpayer says, I'd be worried about the snakes. Funny you should mention that. I was building a fire pit out of just stones I was picking up. And I picked up a stone, and there was a huge, but it was only a garter snake, so it wasn't poisonous or anything, but it spooked me because I picked this up, and this thing went, and I was like, what the hell? Oh, it's just a garden snake. Relax, you know? Yeah, I heard that. I heard Hughes sucks, right? I heard Hughes sucks. I never go back to Hughes. It's so bad. Get yourself a Bear Trank gun. How about just a shotgun, Patrick Sheehan? You know, I want to be sure that thing's out of commission. But like I said, I'm sort of a forestry kind of person. I want to be a good steward of the forest. I don't really want to kill anything that I absolutely, if I have to, I have to. You know, if it's running at me or looks like it's going to try to eat me, I'm shooting it. But otherwise, no. I'd rather just go into a shelter and let it get bored and go away. That's usually what happens, you know. They tend to keep their distance. I have seen an incredible amount of wildlife, including I've seen a red fox, a silver fox. I think I saw a bobcat, which is incredibly rare to see even in the mountains. You just don't see many bobcats anymore. I'm sure it was a bobcat, either that or my eyes are terrible and it was a really huge house cat off in the distance, like a stray cat. But I don't think so because it was colored. It had markings like a bobcat, and I'm 95% sure it was a bobcat. And if there's bobcat there, that's great, and we want to encourage them to be there, not, you know, hunt them. Any idea what tribe owned the land? What's the area again? You can look it up. It's in something called Newfoundland, Pennsylvania. and it's in the Pocono Mountains. So yeah, I'll tell you what, when I go digging at my other cabin, I find a lot of arrowheads and stuff. I know there was a lot of Native Americans in that area for centuries. So yeah, it would be interesting to know that, right? Why do you think they call it bear spray? I don't trust bear spray. That ain't enough, man. Is there a tree big enough for a tree house? Yes. That was I think Xavier wants a tree house, so we're going to build him one, right? Foxes and bobcats are awesome animals. Yeah, and I did see lots of deer. I saw 3 big bucks one time with big racks. I don't know how many point racks, but they were huge. Big, huge bucks. And then I've seen some doe deer. And this Sunday when I was at the land, I saw a mama doe deer with 3 babies, and she was nursing because I was walking through the woods, just kind of exploring the local forest around the land. And she was laying down and nursing these babies. They must have been only a few weeks old. They were tiny. So that was a cool thing because I'd never seen a mama deer nursing baby deer in my life that I recall. So it's these experiences that make me love the forest and love the woods. You know, these once in a lifetime little moments that are just, to me, they're beautiful moments in life. You know, it's like being a witness to Mother Nature. You know, it's wonderful. And the same thing when I saw the bobcat and when I saw the foxes, same thing. There's a lot of red foxes in that area. I have some close-up video that I took of a bobcat family from last year, a couple minutes worth. That's interesting. Send me that footage. I would love to see that. You can email me at truthseekershow.com, post it on Google Drive or something. Did I see a Bigfoot? Not yet. But interestingly, there is Bigfoot sightings all over the Pocono Mountains. Look it up. And I got a map of Bigfoot sightings in Pennsylvania with pinpoints for where all the sightings are in Pennsylvania from Bigfoot researcher Stan Gordon, who you may also know from the Kecksburg UFO case. Very interesting. The Okie-Hocking tribe, also known as Akan-Hicken. No, I don't know. I have to look it up, but yeah. Play music. They say making a noise keeps the bear away. Yeah, I'm going to make a bear siren, or I have a siren that's 12 volt. I'm going to have a siren there, and in case of a bear, I'll blow the siren. And they usually do go away. If it's noisy, they don't like noise. That's why they tell you to like bang pots and pans and scream at them. That seems counterproductive, though. Screaming at an animal that could kill you and eat you. I don't know. I had my one encounter with a bear, and I don't really want to have another close encounter with a bear. I would encourage cougars, too. Not sure that they have cougars or mountain lions where I am, and I'm kind of glad about that. I don't know about cougars, but mountain lions are another animal that can kill a human easily. And sometimes if they get hungry enough, they'll jump on your back and try to eat you. And I don't really want to be walking around in the forest and some mountain lion jumps on my back and tries to eat me. So, yeah. Is that near Kecksburg? No, Kecksburg is more towards Pittsburgh. And the Pocono Mountains are closer to like Philadelphia, you know, like sort of on the one side, the easternmost side, East Coast side of Pennsylvania. Not all the way east, but, you know, just a little bit in, and Pittsburgh is way over here. So Pennsylvania is a lot bigger state than a lot of people realize. I think it takes 8 hours to drive across it from one end to the other if you go long ways. I live in the central area of PA. I wonder if there are Bigfoot sightings here. Yeah, probably. Yeah, and the Sixth Sense says, oh, heck yeah, a mountain lion is nothing to mess with for sure. No, they didn't want a mountain lion killed Joe Rogan's dog when he was living out in Colorado or whatever. Bears don't necessarily kill and eat in that order. Yeah, I know. They might just take a chunk of you and run. That's scary too. Cougars make me a little nervous. Fortunately, I know a friendly one. Well, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I tend to respect anything in nature that could kill me, right? Yeah, taxpayer says all don't hurt a bear. Well, yeah, if at all avoidable, I won't. But if there's a bear charging me or something like that, and he won't go away, there also occasionally there's nuisance bears. Like a bear just attacked 2 children in somebody's driveway in Pennsylvania, and they're going to trap them. They're going to trap all the local bears, and then they're going to DNA to find out which bear was it that attacked those children, and then they're going to euthanize them. And in that case, I think that they should. If you got a bear that's attacking children in a residential area, that unfortunately that bear's going to become a bear rug. You can't risk people's children for a bear that's willing to hurt children or try to, God forbid, kill a child. And there are some problem bears like that sometimes they just have to be put down. It's sad, but it's true. Worried about snakes. I think we went over that. I can't believe no cougar jokes are going in the chat. Yeah. You would be surprised what you could do when a vicious animal is fixing to attack. I used to use a rolled newspaper and would slap my hand with it. It worked. Yeah, some of them get spooked easily. I only seen one mountain lion in my life. It crossed the road right in front of my car. Amazing sighting. Yeah, that is interesting. We don't have anything like that in the UK. You do have sightings of black panthers, though, somehow in the UK. Fascinating, though. Bear criminal forensics. Yeah, they DNA it. If they got DNA from that bear at the site of an attack, they will match it, trap all the bears in the area, and then they put down the one that it was that attacked the people. There's a story about it in a local Pennsylvania newspaper. My wife sent it to me and told me to be careful at the new land. She's concerned now. Because, yeah, listen, anything can happen. I think you have to be very respectful of anything in the forest that can kill you, and then where we're at, maybe a bobcat could kill you. I think you'd have to be sick or like injured or something, because bobcats aren't that big. I guess a deer could kill you if it trampled you or like punctured your lungs with the horns or something, but I've never heard of that happening. Majorly, what I worry about in that forest is bears. I had a pet bird once, but it flew away. Well, that's sad. I missed that bird. Eagles are beautiful. Scott Hernandez is here and says, as pretty much 95% of the people out there don't want to hear this, aliens are fallen angels or products of them. A lot of religious people I know think that, Scott Hernandez. And I have one friend who's a minister who's absolutely convinced. He tells me that I'm wasting my time looking for aliens. You should be looking for demons. That's what he says. He and I had a really long conversation about that once, and he truly believes it, and he offers biblical evidence for it and other non-canonical biblical, scriptural evidence, like the Book of Enoch and a bunch of other stuff. He truly believes that they are deceivers and they are just deceiving people with the form of an alien for whatever reason. Go Kick Rocks is here. Welcome, Jess. Can I get anything like a watch, maybe? Where you been? We're like 3 hours in. And by the way, I just want to tell you, Jess, that I shared some stuff from your Twitter, but I forgot to credit you. So you should go tell another bitter, angry, jealous show host who's going to say I stole your research. I love this shit. My mom hooked up a radio with a loudspeaker to a motion sensor around her trash can. She hasn't had a problem since. That's a very good idea. They go for those trash cans. I'm going to be very careful, though. At the new place, I'm not having no food. If there's any food left over, if I eat something there and there's any food left over, I'm burning it immediately. Because but then that might attract them. I don't know. But you definitely don't want to leave garbage bags with food in it, because the bears always get to that. Yeah. Adaptable says, I agree with him. Mr. Ian says, aliens, angels, both another species. Well, what if they're the same? You never know. Could be shapeshifters, right? Get that pastor on the program. I will if you guys really want to hear from him. Yeah. Oh, Go Kick Rocks has been watching. I'm just busting your balls. It's an old joke. Can I get you anything like a watch? Share away. You're welcome to it. Good. You're not going to go tell another show host that I stole your research, are you? Right? Or that I doxed you because I said your name? Some crazy goddamn people out there. Watch for the huge buck. They will gore you with antlers. Saw it once. Yeah, I've heard that. I keep my distance from them, and I'm respectful to them. I love seeing big bucks like that. They are majestic creatures. I also cannot help when I see a big buck like that. I'm not a hunter, but every time I see a really big buck like that, I can't help it. I think of 200 pounds of ground meat in my freezer and all the burritos and tacos I could make with that. But I'm not really a hunter. I'm capable. I learned when I was growing up, but I never really started doing it myself to feed my family. If I was in a situation where I needed to, I would be fine. I have for emergency too at my apocalypse cabin, the main cabin. I have a bunch of bows and arrows and hunting heads, and I have all the gear in case I need it there. For a while during our health situation, I thought that the dials were going to go up, get turned up, and the situation was going to get even worse. And I thought I was going to be at that cabin hunting to feed my family. So I got prepped just in case. Lyran Gemini is here. Welcome, and says demon, angel, aliens, all different species. Yeah, there's a lot of disagreement about that. Some people truly believe, though, that they're all the same thing. They're all the same kind of entity. And I don't know. I have a minister friend, like I said, Lyran Gemini, who's convinced that the aliens are just fallen angels who are masquerading as a technological alien species for whatever reason. He didn't really have good arguments for the reason. Don't forget the jinn and elder gods. Yeah, that's another one. Old gods, new gods. The jinn are an interesting situation. I have recently started researching the jinn for my series on demons because the jinn are interesting in that, according to the Muslims, they could be good or bad. So it's pretty interesting though. Great research on Twitter. Yeah, and I just steal it and I take credit for it, B. Baker, because I'm that kind of a guy, right? Oh, and while we're on that subject, I just want to make sure that we put on the record. Everybody already knows this, but I'm going to say it for the benefit of stupid people and idiots. Anytime that I share something that is not my own research, we credit the people, no matter who it is. We have shared research from Victor Colliero. And by the way, we always get permission and we always credit. We've shared stuff from Victor Colliero, Signals Intelligence, Charlie Weiser. I only one time used stuff from that guy, and I'll never use anything from him again. So good luck. Go over there, Mr. I need spotlight. I need attention. What's the matter? Your goddamn mommy didn't hug you enough growing up? You need attention? I credited the guy, and he still lied and cried and complained. He didn't. He steals my research. Same guy claimed that Kevin Moore from the Kevin Moore Show stole, and I quote, $20,000 worth of his Bob Lazar research. That's ridiculous. How much research could you possibly have that it's worth $20,000? And where did you get that figure? Is he just walking around the streets going, psst, hey, dude, you want to buy some Bob Lazar research? $20K. Show me the money. It's so stupid and so ridiculous. And, there's an awful lot of paranoid people out there. The thing with the name. Oh, you can't say my name, even though it's all over the internet. And I didn't tell you couldn't say my name. Every once in a while, that dude freaks out and pretends he's a secret agent. I think it's part of the I need attention thing, but whatever. And if you're going to be a two-faced backstabbing bitch, you belong over there with that show host who's a two-faced backstabbing loser and bitch. So, it is what it is. And like I said, I have no place in my life for two-faced backstabbers. As soon as I identify someone as a two-faced backstabber, boop, boop, it goes blip. Just like isn't that what David Fravor says about the Tic Tac? It goes blip. When I identify a two-faced backstabber, they go blip, and they blip out of existence in my life. They're just gone forever. That's how I am. Oh, look. There you go. The Sixth Sense. If anything, he steals research, something I have absolute proof of, as he stole my own with 0 credit. Tic Tac, if it comes to mind. Yeah. That guy doesn't credit anybody. He's a slob. You know, he's not even smart enough to steal from good researchers. And that's what he's alleging, right? We have 1,000 shows here. What about the murder in UFO land story I researched for 3 months? Where's his research? He doesn't have any research he could show you, right? What about the Anjali story? We investigated that for months and researched it. Where's his? He's never broken a story of his own. Never. We've done it how many times here? What about this Western Union story of Corey Goods? We researched that and provided all the proof and evidence. He's got nothing. He's a piss poor loser living in his mom's trailer calling people white trash. But we've wasted enough time on that guy. Go Kick Rocks. You know I'm a huge fan of your show. You never have to ask to share my stupid tweets. You have my permanent position. I'll never understand the attention whores who do that. Yeah, they got nothing going on. I'm famous. I debunked Bob Lazar. That's what you could do with that. That and $5 will buy you a cup of coffee. Maybe $10 the way the economy's going, right? I just love it that every time this dummy puts me, I do love it though. Every time this dummy puts me on his thumbnail and tries to get views, he lies about me and we catch him, right? Try it some more, stupid. Are there any new updates on Charles Hall? No, we're still digging. We're going to do an entire comprehensive show on Charles Hall when we finish. And by the way, I have to thank you for reminding me, though. I'll check in with the other researchers. I hit some brick walls, but I'm still looking into some things, right? And yeah. My stepdad and brother-in-law make venison jerky. Really good. I don't hunt, but it's great. Yeah, makes great jerky, yeah. It would make great jerky, right? Lear and Gemini says Starseed are different. Yeah, well, maybe you want to come here and talk about all that some night. I'm open to that. You could email me at truthseekershow@gmail.com. We need new guests. And we need some less skeptical guests. People are asking me for less skeptical guests. We'll try to bring you some. What our ancestors called demon angels, now we call the Galactic Federation. A lot of people believe that. Yeah, you never know. Unknown Sender says, pray always around a jinn. Keep them out of your mind. Yeah, I had a Muslim tell me something very similar, Unknown Sender. You know, it's interesting. Lear and Gemini says, don't waste your energy, right? Oh, no. Unknown Sender says, angels scare people when seen usually. Fear not, messenger of God. That's the first thing an angel tells people. Don't be afraid or fear not. There's a lot of biblical scripture that supports that. That's the first thing they say. Be not afraid, right? Very, very interesting. Well, friends, we have done our due diligence. It is yet another one in the books here. I want to thank our kind and generous benefactors. We want to thank our chat room moderators. We want to thank Spooky for the wonderful graphics. I'm terrible at layers, and I knew Spooky could do it in a few minutes. Thank you, Spooky. And we want to thank Mr. Ian, our wonderful announcer. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors, Patreon supporters, Twitch subscribers. YouTube channel members, Patreon supporters, PayPal pledgers, super chatters, super sticker people, super thanks people. Thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. And we want to thank all of you, members and Patreon supporters in the live chat, and every member of the live chat. I had a great time tonight, great attendance. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow's going to be a fun show. I hope I'll be here. I hope you will be too. It'll be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Oh, and watch one more. It really, really does help. If you go back and watch one more, maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow, for some reason, YouTube thinks, let's turn the dials up and recommend this channel more because he makes good content that people come back for. It's that good. That's what I've been told. It seems to be working. So we appreciate all of you who hear our call to action and watch one more. We appreciate all of you for being here. We want to thank all of you and welcome you to join us tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here. Hope you will be too. So that's all we got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambion. Good night and God bless all of you.
Mother a hooker. Mother a hooker. I call your 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 mother a hooker. Mother a hooker. Mother a hooker. Circle jerkers. Circle jerkers. Circle jerkers. Circle jerkers. You want to circle jerkers. Now you know circle jerkers. You want to circle jerkers. Now you know circle jerkers.
UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW. UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. Anomaly Resolution Office, or ARROW.
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles. No kidding, non-human. No kidding, non-human. We have spacecraft from another species. We do, yeah. We have spacecraft from another species. We do, yeah.
UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs. UAPs, otherwise known as UFOs.
I call your mother a hooker. You tell guys. I call your mother a hooker.
UAPs to UFOs. 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 UAPs to UFOs.
Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Game over, Skinwalker Ranch. Skinwalker Ranch. Game, Skinwalker Ranch. Ranch. Game, Ranch.
UAPs to UFOs. 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 UAPs to UFOs.
Found no credible evidence thus far of extraterrestrial activity, off-world technology, or objects that defy the known laws of physics.
I believe that you will agree with me when I say that in the last few months, and especially the last few weeks, that the anointing of the Holy Spirit on the telecast has been exceptional. The letters that we are receiving, the comments that you are giving us, but above all, it's just there. And we thank the Lord so much for it, because it is the anointing that breaks the yoke. It breaks that yoke asunder, whatever the yoke may be. I want to thank you also for the help that you gave us last week concerning the appeals that we made, how we are rejoicing. I wish I could give you a total now. I can't. I just can't. I don't have it yet. But I'm asking you, please. God spoke with a lot of you that did not respond. And we love you and we thank you, but when God speaks to you, I know he'll bless you if you will respond. And if you could send a gift of $50